What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Let's get it. Appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Hope everyone had a wonderful Sunday. As you guys are saying in the chat, happy Sunday to all. Hope everyone had a terrific day. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's get it. We got JJ in the chat. We got Adam. Let's go. What's going on, Adam? We got Hobie. We got Brian. What's going on, Brian? Good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. We got Joshua. Good to see you, Joshua. We got Rylan XRP. Good to see you, man. I see we have the OG. I think, let me see if we can find. We got Antonio in the chat too. Shout out to Antonio. So we got Zim707. Good to see you, Zim. We got Karen in the chat. All right, guys. So we're gonna start off on this beautiful flight over to the beautiful Miami. Shout out to Karen. I see Rock Out in the chat. Rocking out. Good to see you, Rock Out. Game stuff. Good to see you. Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff. All right. So as you guys can see today, we're flying the beautiful MD-80. We had to dust this one out from the closet. Beautiful airplane. I know it's Brian's favorite airplane. He suggested it, and I'm looking forward to flying this beautiful plane today. Let me know what you guys did today. If you guys chilled with the family, if you guys had some good food for dinner, here we go. Adam is always good to see, man. Adam said, look at that, the hovering airliner. Yes, sir. Aircraft was just hovering about above us just now. All right, 1 second. It's a bit windy. Looking for a takeoff speed. And we're going to try to rotate. This plane takes a lot to rotate. Let's see if we can get it without a tail strike. And we're up. The Jarrett's family. Good to see you, man. He said, what setup do you have? I have the TCA Boeing yoke, PC. And that's basically it. All right. You said you're watching the Eagles getting destroyed right now. What? No way the Eagles are getting destroyed. Will Chloe sing tonight? Chloe will not be singing. She said, she is not feeling too well, but shout out to Chloe. But tonight we will be having a special guest. Somebody you guys know very well will be on the podcast. He's also a member of the channel. He goes by the name of Captain Nick. Captain Nick will be on with us in just a few moments. So shout out to him. If you guys have any suggestions or questions to ask Captain Nick, feel free to get your questions ready. You got that right, Rock Out? Yes, sir, Captain Nick indeed. Let me go and start to make this hard right turn. All right, so let's go and take a look at this cockpit. Looking very beautiful. We don't see this this cockpit a lot, so let me show you guys real quick how it looks from inside. We got Adam. Adam, what are we going to name this flight attendant? Is it Angelica still, or this is a different plane? So got to name our flight attendant. Yes, sir. Captain Nick will be on in just a few moments. Shout out to him. All right, so he's going to answer my question on stream. He said it on Discord yesterday. Got you. Yeah, he'll be on in just a few minutes here. Adam said, hey, Angelica. Awesome. All right, so as we start.
And we do thank you for your attention once we have reached a safe and comfortable.
That is not Angelica. There's no way. We got Laura in the chat. Let's go. Laura, good to see you.
During the course of our flights,
Laura's been a long couple of weeks. Good to see you. We're glad to have you back. How you been?
We do ask that you kindly display
how was your holidays and Happy New Year.
All garments or blankets.
Great to see you, Laura.
Do frequent safety checks. And failure to see yourself, but will result in having to awaken.
All right.
We thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Also to is Willie on? Shout out to Willie. I think I saw him flying earlier with us. But shout out to him. We'll be flying over, as Willie would say, his ex's house. If you know, you know. Gonna be passing over that famous airport code. I think Brian and Rock Out, you guys will get that. We'll be passing over that famous airport code in a few minutes also. So Captain Nick the Goat, he'll be on in a few minutes. Adam said, Laura, where you been? Just kidding. How was your holidays? Yes, sir, Rock Out. The famous airport code, man. Laura said she has been busy. Got you. Willie said, hello, Trip. What's up? I just passed it. Man, when you guys chose this flight route, I was looking forward to seeing that airport code. I'm going to be passing it in just a few minutes here. Galactic Games, you are hilarious, bro. Alrighty. Now that we are ready, said our hellos. Let's see if we can get Captain Nick on the line real quick. This beautiful American Airlines. I love this livery, man. Let me know what you guys prefer. The older livery like this or the newer one? I really love this beautiful shiny livery of the vintage American Airlines. Very awesome. Laura said, what did you guys have for dinner? Me, I had some awesome some rice, chicken, shepherd's pie, vegetables. What about you, Laura? Oh, also, guys, tomorrow is my sister's birthday, so we'll be taking her out to a restaurant. So I will be going live early tomorrow at 6, only for an hour. So the live tomorrow is going to be from 6 to 7. From 6 to 7. But yeah, much love to you guys. Let me see. Willie Lee's trying to cook and fly. Nice. Awesome. Rocco said he ate breakfast and that's it. Rocco, that's the only thing you had all day? What? He said he had cabbage, potatoes, and carrots. Sheesh. Oh, that's awesome. Brian said, what you know about shepherd's pie, Chip? Brian, what you know about shepherd's pie? I'm surprised you know what that is. Let's get it. Yeah, a lot of people. I told someone this afternoon I had shepherd's pie. It was like, what? What is that? See, a lot of people doesn't know what that is. Well, that's awesome, man. Brian said he had Outback. Let's go. Rocco said, Trip, my parents and I were looking for some houses, and we found one today. That's awesome, Rocco. Congratulations, man. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. All right, so Rocco said they don't know about that. That is funny. All right, so let's go and hop on. Well, actually, before we hop on to give Captain Nick a call, let's actually turn on TikTok so everybody else can chit chat with us as we're flying and whatnot. Here we go. Alrighty. We got Rio in the chat. What's going on, Rio? Good to see you, bro. Welcome to the stream. Rio, how was your weekend, man? JJ said, shepherd's pie is amazing. If you know, you know. Oh, you listened to the last Captain Nick stream? Let's go. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, here we go. Let's go to give Captain Nick a quick call. Let's get it. He said, Philly hater, what's up? Yes, he is awesome indeed. Brewer said, what's up, Trip? All good. What about you? All good over here too, man. Good to see you, bro. Just looking forward to doing this flight with you guys and landing in the beautiful Miami. We just took off from Atlanta. Benjamin Hendricks, good to see you again, man. Welcome to the stream. Hope all is well. Much love to you and the family. Let me know what you guys did this weekend. My Miami Dolphins game is actually coming on at 8:30, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, here we go. Good evening, good evening. Captain Nick. Testing 1, 2. Let me see. Rocker said he's eating some potato chips right now. Nice.
You there, Trip?
Yes, sir. We got Captain Nick on the line. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, let me do. You know, I got to do the introduction. Even though we all know who you are, you're an awesome guy. But, ladies and gentlemen, today we have. He goes by the name of Captain Nick. He's an awesome guy we met about a few months ago. And so far, he's been an amazing addition to the channel. He helps a lot of people with a lot of stuff. And he is an awesome guy. He's an awesome pilot for Southwest for many years. And we really appreciate him on the channel. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the awesome Captain Nick. Let's get it. All right.
It's like a WWE like
a WWE entrance. Triple H. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So how you been, Captain Nick? Good to have you back.
Oh, fantastic, man. It's been good to be home for a couple of days.
Awesome. I've been good also. Been looking forward to this interview. Looking forward to have you on the stream. Much love to you, man. So we have a few people in the chat right now that said, what's up, Captain Nick? They said, hey, Captain Nick. Said Captain Nick.
Guys?
Yes, sir. So yeah, I think Antonio said he asked you a question in the Discord and you said he's going to answer it on stream. Antonio, if you would like to repeat the question, or if you remember, Captain Nick, what was the question he asked?
I do remember part of it. I want, obviously it'd be helpful if it was asked again.
Yeah.
All of it.
Okay.
It was a college question, which I find those always get asked, and so I want to make sure to hit that the best that I can, at least.
Definitely.
Because I know that there's more than one person who are
yes, sir.
the same question.
We got Mark in the chat. Mark, good to see you, man. He said he watched the Seahawks. Nice. He said Captain Nick in the house. Yes, sir. Captain Nick is in the house indeed. Somebody said they love the MD-80. Yes, sir. Beautiful vintage airplane. Beautiful. Somebody said they're having engine failure. Having to divert right now. Joshua, you good? But yes, Antonio, once again, I think he's typing right now. So let's go and wait on Antonio with the question he had to ask you. And yeah. Hey, what's up, Dose? We actually got this plane from online. It's off the game. Let me see. JJ said Captain Nick said he had a question for me. Can't wait to hear it.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. It's
Okay,
about what
gotcha.
you and I have talked about, Trip.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, okay. So whenever you're ready, you can let him know about that. Or
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe here in just a little bit. I'll take some questions first.
Gotcha,
Sorry
yeah,
if there's some background noise. We're
Oh.
trying to also get ready for. I
Nope.
start at 4-day starting tomorrow.
4-day. Wow.
Yeah, we get an extra day of prep.
Wow, no problem, man. Gotcha. All right, so as you wait, feel free to ask any questions, guys. Feel free to ask. Once again, we have Captain Nick on the line. He's a Southwest pilot, Southwest captain. So feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Somebody said to check the food. Oh, you guys want to see food? All right, let me see. Rockout posted a picture of some mangoes. Sheesh, beautiful pictures, Rockout. Nice. Yes, guys, we're flying the beautiful retro MD-80 right now. Thank you so much
I
for
love
doing
that livery that you got going on.
Yes, sir. Vintage American Airlines back in the day. Very beautiful. All right, so this is the wing view. Awesome. All right, so for the 4-day trip you're having right now, how that is okay. There we go. So we have a question from Antonio. This is the question he was going to ask. He says, "So I'm planning to double major in college, and want to study aviation as well. Do you have any advice, Captain Nick?" That's his question.
Yes. So this is where what I've noticed is, there's a lot of people that have asked this question about college, and like I said, I want to make sure that I get to it as in depth as they want. So obviously, if this doesn't answer it directly, obviously message me back, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But here's the thing with the majors and double major, and does it need to be in aviation? Many places are dropping our requirements for the college degree. I am not saying do not go to college. So I want that to be very, very clear. I'm not saying don't go to college. I myself went to college. I have a 4-degree Bachelor of Science, pro pilot aviation. So I get the want to do the aviation program, and I'm not saying no to it. What I am saying is, God forbid I lost my medical tomorrow, my college degree is in aviation professional pilot. So don't really, I have some minors, right? I have like a triple minor, but if I could go back and do it again, now, do I know that I would absolutely change? Maybe not, because I love aviation. And I get that, like wanting to major in aviation. I get that. However, think about it. If you lost your medical, what is your fallback? So, for example, there are other concentrations within aviation, like maybe it's airport management, maybe it's ATC, maybe it's, there's other things, dispatch, whatever. There's other things that go into aviation, mechanics. And if you wanted to be in aviation, if you want to go to college, if you want to major, or especially double major, that sounds adventurous. If you wanted to do all these things, just ensure that, I'm very fortunate that I'm at the point in my career where, God forbid I lost my medical, I'm still going to be okay. But I took a lot of risks up to this point with that scenario. Man, God forbid I lost my medical tomorrow. Like, what am I going to do? And I don't have the schooling to back that up. So I just want to make that very clear. Like, I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm not saying don't double major.
Yeah.
I'm saying give it some thought. And on a one-on-one level, I'm happy to talk to him and make sure that we actually go through this, because obviously not everyone's in his boat.
Yep.
So one-on-one, let's talk more. Let's see what you kind of are interested in. But I just want to give that food for thought, because there are multiple people who have talked about majoring. Now, I do get it, though. Like, if you want to be a pilot, there are a lot of places like Middle Tennessee State University, where I went to, MTSU. They have a professional pilot degree where you get your ratings while you're in college. I get that. You're doubling up on everything. And then at that point, because you're in college, you're also getting credit for flying. I totally get that. Do that.
Yeah.
But like I said, just keep your mind open. Don't just shut out everything else. If you're going to double major, maybe do the aviation thing, but also look at, God forbid I lose my medical, where am I going to go then?
Exactly. Awesome. Great answer. Shout out to Captain Nick, and great question by Antonio. If you guys just hopping in, we have on the line Captain Nick. We're going to be asking him some questions. He's a member of the channel. He's an awesome Southwest pilot. I see P-Star, you just joined. Yes, sir. He said, who's the guy talking? That is the awesome Captain Nick that we're on the line with right now. Thank you guys so much for hopping out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. He's preparing for a 4-day trip. Right now, he's a pilot. So, and the fact that he's on the phone right now with us is amazing. So shout out to him once again. So yeah, any more questions? And appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Right now, we are flying the MD-80 over to the beautiful Miami. This is where I am right now. So looking for a beautiful scenery right now. Brian said he's passing the infamous airport. Got you. I'm passing it right now too. All right. So Antonio said, thank you, Captain Nick. I have been thinking about it the last few weeks. It's been important since I applied to college in a few months. Nice.
Yeah, and like I said, let's do a one-on-one. Like, you know how to get in touch with me, man. So let's do a one-on-one. We can talk more in depth. That premise, I really wanted to make sure I hit, because I know that you're not the only person going through this situation right now of where do I go now? And so I just wanted to make sure I really hit that part. So thanks for letting me kind of talk that one through.
Yeah, that was a great answer. Thank you so much for answering it. Willie said, Captain Nick, is DOT physical the same as the aviation physical?
Ooh, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not positive, but like we do, we go through an aviation medical examiner, an AME, and you'll generally get your first, second, or third class medical. So I wouldn't think so. Like I'm guessing you're saying like for to be like a truck driver or whatever.
Yep.
This has to come from a FAA approved medical examiner. So I would guess no. But once again, don't quote me. I'm just a pilot, man. I'm not a doctor. So don't quote me on that. I would say no, but do your research. And then, check out and you can always call these guys. Like you can call an aviation medical examiner and just like, hey, I have this physical. Does it equate? And they're going to tell you yes or no.
Yep. Got you. That's a great answer. So, Willie, there's your answer. Thank you so much, Captain Nick. Also mentioned by Hobie, which is a CFI. He's in the chat. He said another thing to consider being a pilot is to ensure you live a healthy lifestyle. So if you are denied or lose your medical, you could have a ton of trouble getting it back. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Great advice, Hobie. Yeah, that's one thing everyone always worried about getting there. I heard how often do you guys have to get a checkup, a medical, like a physical done as a pilot?
So that's kind of a loaded question. To do what we do as far as at the airline level, and we have this weird loophole, so I'm not going to get into it, but essentially if you're under 40, you're going to get one once a year, and if you're 40 or over, you're going to get one every 6 months. Wow. But then there's all these little tricks to that, like so you've got a CFI on right now. As long as you've got a medical, as long as it's this class, like he might be able to go for 5 years. So like there's a lot of kind of ins and outs, and that's something I'd like a little like a quote unquote ground school on the channel to kind of explain medicals a little bit better. But for me, I'm under 40, so I go once a year.
Awesome. Okay. Got you. And you go to a FAA certified doctor.
Yep.
Okay, got you. Welcome to P-Star. I think P-Star is the first time he's listening to a podcast with Captain Nick. He has a question. He said, I have a question for the pilot. How do you become a pilot? That's the general question.
That's a good question, man. That's very open-ended too.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of depends on the route that you want to go. I mean, you can do your own, just kind of come when you can, go through flight training, Part 61. You could go through a school, like a college, maybe like a 141 type school where they have a program built out for you. You can go the military route. There's a ton of different routes to go. I went civilian. I had a military flight slot actually, and it was just economy was not in a great spot. And so all these people who were getting out of the military and I was going to take their flight slots, they were re-upping to stay in the military because it was a guaranteed job, and it just pushed me out too far. And so I had to let mine go. But, they're all good routes. It just kind of depends on what phase of life you're in. It depends on finances. It depends on kind of a lot of things going on there. So do you have a family? Do you not? How much time do you have to devote to this? Do you need a college degree still? Like, are you looking to get one? So there's so many answers to that. But I would say the first thing you should do, go take a discovery flight, man. We're looking into those a little bit more. And that's going to be kind of part of our announcement later is you might spend like $150, go up for like an hour, just kind of see like, is this what I want to do? And then really start digging into your goals at that point and kind of dig into what's going to work best for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer, man. Thank you so much. We have Antonio said, Captain Nick. Wait, let me make sure I didn't miss the question. Yeah, Antonio said, Captain Nick, is there a lot of advanced math that needs to be known in order to become a pilot? That's a great question. We get a lot of those questions here on the channel. So, do we need to know a lot of math to become a pilot?
I will not lie to you. There is math involved. Most of it, once you get to this level, is like I was teaching Rio the other day, like a 3-to-1 rule, and that's just a general rule of thumb. So we do a lot of like mental math.
Yep.
And then yes, there is some math involved, but that's kind of something that we tell kids when they get in the cockpit. We're like, hey, make sure your grades are good. Like it helps the parents out,
Yep.
But yes, I mean, there's math involved. I mean, especially we start getting into holding, diversions, the fuel calculations. I mean, like your CFI right now would show you, I'm sure, a million different charts that we use in like a POH to determine so many different little things of, essentially like fuel burn and with pressure altitude and how's this going to go and density altitude and whatever. So there's stuff that goes into it for sure. And especially if you're going to go the college route, with me doing the professional pilot degree, I had to go through aerodynamics, performance, physics, things like that. So you're just using math to get through those anyways. And but then like on the daily basis, no, man, we're not sitting down like doing arithmetic or anything. But yeah, there's some basic mental math that goes into my job for sure.
Got you. Understood. Awesome answer. We have a question here from JT on TikTok. He said, ever heard good things about ATP flight school? That's a question.
Yeah. I was talking to Nate about this the other day. So ATP, the good, the bad, the ugly, because I've always tried to be very open about this, is if you can drink water from a fire hose, ATP is a great school. You get some multi-time. It's very fast. You could be a flight instructor in like within the year. The problem that I have personally with ATP is they do not, they're in it to pump pilots out. I mean, it's a factory, man. Like eat, sleep, breathe aviation. And it's good if you can hang in there. The problem is if you feel like you're starting to fall behind, there's a lot of self-study that goes into it. And if you feel like you're starting to fall behind, you truly, instead of being like, okay, well, let's slow down, they don't have that option as many times because you're under a time limit. And so the opportunity of, hey, let's pull back then, when I was a flight instructor, I'd be like, okay, let's pull back. You don't feel comfortable yet. Let's pull back, make sure you understand these concepts. You don't quite have that opportunity when you're at ATP. And so if you don't feel ready for a check ride, you may kind of still be forced into going and taking one, not in an unsafe way, but just in the way of they're under the clock. And so I have heard and seen more people have failures on their check ride records, generally coming from like an ATP type school.
Yep. Just
because you never got to say, hey, slow down. You just had to keep up with the rest of the bulls. So like I said, if you can do that, that's great, man. You're going to be in and out like super quick. But be ready, like, and try to get ahead. That's why I'm like, we do like this ground school, because if I can get someone even just one step ahead of their peers when they start, that's one step that you have that someone else doesn't have. And if you fall behind even one step, now you're just even with everyone else. But if you start ahead, you will probably be better off.
Awesome. So JT, that's your answer, man. Basically ATP pumps out pilots super quick, so you got to be ready and able to just do everything in a fast-paced motion. Thank you so much, Captain Nick. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Lexi, I see you. Welcome to the stream. Shout out to everybody on TikTok also. Good to see you guys. Right now, we have another question. Does he know anyone from Epic Flight Academy out of Florida? Epic Flight Academy. Do you know anything about Epic Flight Academy in Florida?
I don't. So, but it's kind of like the joke in Ireland. I know we've got a Irish guy on right now too.
Yeah.
The joke in Ireland is like, even if I don't know you or the person you're talking about, I'm only like 1 or 2 away from knowing that person. So the cool thing about aviation is you will end up kind of knowing everyone in some way, shape, or form. And it's funny that my flight instructor, when I was going through, his name's Alan, we went two totally separate routes. I got through and I got all my ratings, and then he went off and flew like charter and corporate, and then he went over to here, and then I went over there. We're both at Southwest now. Like, and then
what? That's awesome.
One of my students, he's at United now, and it's like, I remember he was in the cockpit with one of his guys, and all of a sudden they started talking, and it's like they happen to know Alan, who was my instructor, and the way that my old student knew Alan was through me. So we're all connected somehow. Like it's too small of a community. I think the new numbers are, in the airline world, there's only like 100 and something thousand airline transport pilots. That's a very small number when you start looking at things. So like when we're walking through the airport, every once in a while you'll see someone, you'll be like, I know that guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. So we have another question here, but before, let me see. Hobie, the CFI in the chat, he says, thankfully, math doesn't extend much past basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, nice. Good to know. Good to know. We have a question here on TikTok. So, have you heard about Flying Academy in Miami, KTMB location? He's starting with them next week. Oh, nice. Going to be starting the Flying Academy next week. Congratulations, man.
Nice. That's awesome.
That is amazing.
I haven't, man. There, like I said, there's so many of those out there, and my guess is a lot of them are kind of that ATP type situation.
Yeah.
So I kind of lump them all in, which I know is not right because they can be very different. But if they're all kind of that fast track, like we call them 0 to hero program, and it's for someone who's like, I don't know a whole lot. I mean, some people don't know literally anything about aviation. They just know, I want to be a pilot. And it's a 0 to hero program. So you go from zero knowledge to, a lot of these places have like placement programs where, like Destination 225 for Southwest, for example, once you go through, like they say, like 13 months, you'll become a CFI. And then for 2 years, you're going to be a CFI and you're going to teach. So the same person that was teaching you, like now you become the teacher.
Wow.
And then after X amount of time, they'll place you with like a regional airline, for example, like SkyWest. And then after like 2 years, you're going to come over into the right seat of Southwest. And so we're seeing like the first round of Destination 25 pilots as first officers in Southwest. And they just started like 4 years ago, which is crazy. So it's good. It's great. Not crazy bad, crazy good.
Awesome.
But yeah,
got you.
Those places, like those flight things, they're kind of like that.
Awesome. We have another question here from TikTok. I know you're going to love this one. The question is, should I get Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great tool. And especially if you use it how it's intended to be used for. Like, I do this for a living. So when I hop on, you're generally going to see me in like an F-22 or an F-15 or something. That's me just having fun, man. But I use Flight Sim a lot to get to where I am now. And what's funny is I actually bought that PMDG 737 because when I go for like simulator training every year, I can get on there and actually like mess with stuff that we don't do on a normal basis. And so that's the realism is there as long as you treat it as such.
Yep. Amen. Yeah, Flight Simulator does help you a lot. I've heard indeed. Rio said, do you feel like there's a shortage of pilots in America?
100%. Yeah. And it's, we talked about that on the last stream, that it was created. And, we can get into the politics of that later, but like it was created. There was a shortage. There never used to be. And then now there is. And so they're trying to right that and balance this. And so if anyone has ever wanted to become a pilot, right now is the best time that we've ever seen, period, ever. And so if you want to become a pilot, the thing is you need to jump, and you need to jump quick. You need to jump aggressively. And that's, we've talked to a couple people recently about that, is like, if this has been your dream, there has never been a better time, but you need to jump hard, because everything in aviation is cyclical. And, you see some of these guys who are like, yeah, I'm on my seventh airline. I got furloughed from 2, and, this one went under, and like, I mean, where's Pan Am? Where's TWA? You know what I mean? Like, everything is very cyclical. So you need to jump hard to try to get your seniority while you can.
Yep. Awesome. Once again, guys, welcome to the stream. We're on the line with Captain Nick. He's a Southwest captain, so feel free to ask any questions. We have a question here from Antonio. Said, so how does learning to be a pilot through college look like? Are there a lot of classes, a lot of training? What should I expect?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, it's another college degree. It's just kind of a unique one where your lab, if you will. So like if you were doing chemistry, you're going to go to class and you're going to do like the chemistry stuff. But then like once a week or once every couple of weeks, you're going to have a lab. And in that lab, it's a hands-on, this is what we've learned for the last week. Now let's put it to practical application. The only difference is your lab, you're going to be in a plane. So like you're going to, like when I was in school and then I also became an instructor at that school, it was go to class, like you have your class work at campus, and then all of a sudden you hop in your car, you head out to the airport and you fly with your flight instructor, and basically you're expected to get the rating during that semester. So this semester I'm applying for my private pilot license, and so I'm going to go through private pilot classwork while you also do, your general educations and stuff. And then that's why I was saying like the most math I ever did was in performance and aerodynamics. I have books of just crazy arithmetic that we did, which obviously I don't use on a day-to-day basis anymore, but you're going to take those classes in the art appreciation and the general education. But while you're doing all that, you're also going to take like intro to aviation weather. Like it's pretty deep. It's pretty in depth, which is good. It gives you a well-rounded sense of aviation, but keep up. That's awesome, for sure. Keep your wits about you.
Yep. Gotcha. The Jarrett's on YouTube said, do you think CAP is a good path to learn how to fly? CAP. CAP.
Oh, Civil Air Patrol. Yeah, I think Civil Air Patrol is fantastic. I never had the opportunity just because of, I was doing 3 jobs and 21 credit hours and flying crazy amounts. So I never had a opportunity to do Civil Air Patrol. But yeah, I do think that they're the one that was near me was slightly too militant for me. Like there was like a 9-year-old who seemed to be like running a group of guys, and it kind of seemed very like in a weird, scary, militant way. But for like any age. But as far as the mission of the Air Patrol, yeah, I think it's a great program. Look into it at least,
awesome.
And kind of see what the one is like near you.
Awesome. Rocco said, do you ever have trouble sleeping because you're excited to fly the next morning?
Yes, actually, yes. That is one thing with my career that is so unique is when other people tend to be like, I got work tomorrow. Like,
yeah,
dude, I love my job. Like I love, I never call it a job. Like it is a great career, and yes, you do find yourself kind of getting giddy or antsy. Yeah. I mean, are those days where you've had just a long day? Absolutely. Like they're going to happen. And, you're going to, I think I was trying to keep everyone updated last week. I was in wherever it was, Buffalo or something, and I'm getting de-iced and snow's rolling in and, there's freezing rain or whatever. Like you're going to use your brain and you're going to get a little tired. And when you get to your room, you're just ready to fall asleep. But yeah, there are those days where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm excited for tomorrow's flights. It's awesome. There for sure.
Nice. Aaron said, should you get your PPO before you go to college for aviation?
So I did, and I'll tell you why. I actually got my private and my instrument before I went. And what happened with me was, so I have my private, I have my instrument. The first semester at MTSU, you cannot fly.
Wow.
So fall semester, your first semester, they just kind of want you to, intro to college life. You're not with mom and dad anymore. And so the first semester you can't fly at all. So I was like, well, I'm just going to get my private, my instrument. And then during my first semester, I was able to, that's when I was finishing up my instrument. And then summer hit and everyone was off. I got my CFI and my multi then. So when everyone came back the spring semester and they were starting on their private license, I was their instructor. Wow. I was also in class with them. Nice. In the same classes, but I was actually their instructor. So it was kind of funny because I was like in intro to aviation, but I was already a flight instructor. It just happened to work out that way. Now, I will tell you, double and triple check. I cannot express this enough because MTSU changed it shortly thereafter to where you had to get your private with MTSU. It used to just be that as long as you got like 3 ratings with them, they didn't care which ones they were. And then they realized, okay, people are coming in with their private and their instrument. They're doing things a little different than we like them to do it. And so I think they changed it to where, no, now you have to get your private with us in your instrument and your commercial, and all the other ones you can do wherever you want. So be really careful, because if you come in with your private and you haven't talked to this college, they may be like, sorry, we can't even accept you into the flight program anymore because you already have it. So just be really careful with that. Double check, talk to recruiters, whatever. Gotcha.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Antonio says, going back to his question, he said, thank you so much for the analogy, Captain Nick. It makes sense considering I'm taking chemistry right now. Nice, Antonio.
Okay.
So we have another question here from Rio. It said, do you think pilots in Canada have more of an advantage in the U.S. pilots because of the different weather patterns? Pilots
when it comes
Canada.
to weather analysis, probably, yeah. We get quite a bit of unique weather ourselves too. I mean, Canada doesn't have as many thunderstorms, for example, as we do in Miami. But yeah, I would say, like, in Canada, you're dealing with cold, you're dealing with cold fronts, you might be dealing with low pressure more often. I would say overall about same, just because most people coming from Canada have also never been in like some severe thunderstorms like we have in Miami. So you guys probably deal with a little more of the cold and we deal with a little more of the heat.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you so much. Rio says, oh, sorry, not Rio. So we have a question here from Rockhouse. Said, are they making it easier for people in the U.S. to become pilots?
Yes, 1,000,000% yes. And not necessarily in a bad way. You see some of these guys are disgruntled. If you ever come across one, it is truly because they're just jealous of the situation that the people are in right now.
Yeah.
I wish, in a way, that if I was born 2 years later than I was, I could have also used the same pathway that's available now. It just wasn't available when I was going through. And so I had to do things the old school, old fashioned. It took an entire career just to get to a major like Southwest.
Wow.
And now you're seeing people who 4 or 5 years in are in the right seat of a Southwest 737 already. And you're like, this is insane. Not in a bad way. But yes, they are making it, the fast track. They're making it easier. I mean, just the simple things of, like, they've lowered the age. I had to just sit there and wait until I was 23 to get my airline transport pilot license. That's to potentially start interviewing with these people. You don't have to have that anymore. You're 20, 21 years old, getting a restricted ATP, or the times have drastically come down. I had to have over 1,000 hours PIC turbine, that's left seat captain, in a jet airplane before I could even apply to Southwest. That's not a thing anymore. I had to have a 4-year bachelor's degree. That's not a thing anymore. So yes, I mean, just looking at the facts, they have made it a lot easier. And they're willing to help pay these zero to hero programs. They tend to split the financial burden with you. These opportunities weren't there just a few years ago. That's why I'm saying, if you want to do it, right now, jump.
Just go for it. I like that.
Yep.
I'll see a fire in the chat. Kobe, he says, I completely believe you should get your private before college. Got you.
Just be careful though, because that college may not accept that.
Oh, that's true. Question here from TikTok is, how long have you been flying for Southwest? How long did it take you to get to Southwest? My bad. How long did it take you to get to Southwest?
Okay. So I guess I started flying professionally at 18. And then, COVID kind of messed us all up. The 67 rule messed us all up. I would say 12 years. Took 12, 13, almost 13 or 14 years to get to Southwest. So that's just to get to Southwest. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's crazy that, some of these new people that are like, I've never flown a plane before, they could be in the same spot that I am in 4 years. That's wow. I'm saying, jump if you've ever wanted to do it.
Yeah. Got you. Somebody said, have you heard of the Frontier Cadet Program? Thoughts on skipping the regional route?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as Destination 225. Like, if Frontier is where you want to go, or if you're, you have that mindset of, I think I can skip the regionals. I mean, it's a great program to get into. That's kind of along the same route of United has United Aviate. Southwest has Destination 225. From what I understand, I get where your point is, that you are going to be just jumping straight into Frontier versus having to go to like Republic or SkyWest. I get that. I think in the end right now, with how everything's moving, I think they're all kind of same. What I would look at is, for example, I recommend the Destination 225 specifically for someone who's like, man, I want to fly for Southwest. I wouldn't shy away from the Frontier thing, like especially if that's close to your house or it's an easy flight there or whatever. But if Frontier's not your end game, you may want to also keep your options open. Like if you're like, well, I want to go to United. Okay, United Aviate program, you might want to look into them too. I wouldn't just look into Frontier.
Yep. Got you. JT said, no, don't skip regionals. The 170s and the 190s are awesome, as well as the CRJs.
The 170 is a great plane.
Beautiful plane. Absolutely beautiful. We have another question here coming from Alexis. Captain Nick, have you ever been in an emergency situation on an aircraft?
Yeah, I've been in a couple, especially medical emergencies. Those tend to be a little more prevalent. We're carrying around 175 people at a time sometimes, so the odds that, and some people don't handle the altitude well, they don't handle the pressurization well, or what have you, so things can happen. So yeah, I've been in a couple of those. And then as far as mechanical emergencies, more so when I was flying smaller, like single engine piston planes, more so than jets. Jets are we just maintain them at such a different level. But ironically, I did have one on the 175 one time going into Philadelphia. Luckily I was like on a downwind into Philly, but we lost like one of the brains. If you like the 175, the way it's built, it's like a giant cell phone. Wow. And so like if you can turn it off, turn it back on again, it's probably going to fix itself. You just don't get to do that in the air, unfortunately. So the irony is they used to call that the Embraer 180 because it would do a 180 on the taxiway and it'd come back to the gate.
Oh my.
When it first came out, they were so notorious for having electrical problems, like not dangerous, just it didn't boot up right, or it didn't like what you were doing with it. And then they fixed it since then. They've become extremely reliable. But I had a problem with one of the brains of the Embraer. And so like I lost like half of everything. I mean, it was like, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't. And like when we landed, my ICAS looked like a Christmas tree, just lit up, man. It was crazy.
Gotcha.
It wasn't dangerous or anything.
Another question here is, I know you also fly the 737 MAX, and it's been going through a lot of stuff lately, and just what just happened 2 days ago with the window blowing out open. How do you feel about the 737 MAXs in general?
I love them, man. They're real quiet until you like blow a hole in the side of it. No, so that's the MAX 9.
Yeah,
and we don't fly the MAX 9. We fly the MAX 8 and soon the MAX 7.
Yep.
But yeah, man, they've been riddled with things here and there. Especially when the MAX 8 first came out, what was it, Lion Air, and God, I can't remember the other one. The engine failures, and we train for those though pretty heavily. I mean, you see, like nothing happened with that Alaska flight, emergency descent, come into Portland, land. And the plug, they've identified the problem with that. Yeah. And they're like grounding them left and right to make sure they check these plugs. Yeah. I think that plug or something like blew out. And so Southwest sent us something immediately, and they're like, listen, we don't have that plug. It's a completely different thing. We've checked all of our planes. So Southwest is extremely, and I'm not taking, United is too, American, Delta, Alaska, JetBlue, they're all good. Yeah. But like Southwest is extremely fast at, do we have this? If we do, let's get it fixed now. They're very proactive instead of reactive when it comes to stuff like that. So very fortunate to work with a company like that. But yeah, they immediately figured out what was going on. They were in talks with the FAA immediately and Boeing immediately. And so the Maxes have had their things, but they're getting worked out one kink at a time. I mean, that's every plane in history. It's kind of like remember like cell phones, when every time a new cell phone comes out, it's got some weird bug. Yeah. It's just, with planes, you find them, you fix them, and they don't happen again, thankfully.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for answering it. Also, guys, thank you so much for the follows on TikTok. Much, much love. Right now, we're on the line with Captain Nick. He's a 737 Southwest pilot. Appreciate you so much for hopping on. Feel free to ask any questions you have. We have another question here from Antonio. He said, so Captain Nick, were there any important classes you took in high school that were important for a pilot? Classes in high school important for a pilot?
In high school? Yeah. I mean, just in general, school, you know, especially if you're going the college route, man, like keep your grades up. They afford you the ability to do certain things. You know, so one of the things like we talk with our son about is like, right now you have every door open to you.
Yeah.
And then you just want to try to keep them open. You don't want to close one because it's hard to open that door back up. So, you know, you're going through high school, keep your grades up, man. Become optimistic. You know, I know school isn't anyone's favorite thing. You know, not a whole lot of people are like, oh my God, yay, school. But it is affording you the opportunity to go do these things. Don't screw that up by being like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to slack off my senior year. Every class can be important. It just kind of depends. I know a lot of it depends on the teacher. I've had classes where, you know, I took a marketing class and I was not a fan. And then all of a sudden we got a different teacher and I was like, I love marketing. Like he just understood how to make it make sense to me. I would say in high school though, you know, obviously the basic gen ed stuff, because you're going to carry that through to college. So the math, the science, the reading, writing, all that stuff, you're going to carry that through into college. So just kind of pay attention there. And then hopefully when you get to college, I remember taking chemistry. And then when I went to college, like literally learning, it was like chemistry 2.0 was like a recap. And so I was fortunate that I paid attention in high school because it wasn't quite as hard for me as it was for some other people getting into that class.
Got you. Awesome. So Jake said, thoughts on pilot mental health causes and concerns along with the career. He says for someone working towards ATP.
Yeah, I mean it's something that we all think about. We all talk about it. If you're on TikTok, go look up a guy. His name is Cheese Pilot. He's a super good dude, Cheese Pilot, and he's going through something right now with the FAA where, you know, apparently 10 years ago, he saw a therapist while he was in Afghanistan as a military personnel. And then out of nowhere, like 10 years later, the FAA revokes his license.
Wow.
There are things that we are fighting on a daily basis with Congress. There are petitions out there that we would love for you to sign. Maybe I can dig one up and send it around in the Discord.
Yeah.
Pilot health is just as important as anyone else's health. There's no one's health is more important. Not a pilot, not a doctor. The unfortunate part is when you become a pilot, you sign away basically your HIPAA rights. So when we go get our aviation medical examination, I have to sign away saying that the FAA can essentially just pull any of my medical records. And what that has led to with other pilots is a knowing, like a willful, maybe I'm not going to go get checked out for that. Any other person would, right? If you worked a 9-to-5 desk job, you're like, oh, wow, what's that? I'm going to go get it checked out. And what they have found is there's been a willingness to kind of let that go. Because if that's going to go to the FAA, is that going to mess with, you know, their career? So there's a big push right now, and it needs to continue. So like I said, if you can find those petitions, man, like sign them. It helps us a lot. Pilots should absolutely be able to go get physical and mental help. And right now there's a feeling of being kind of pressed down on.
Got you. Once again, guys, thank you so much for hopping on. Also, Captain Nick is in our Discord. We have a free Discord. Feel free to hop on. This is where we can interact with him and interact with others that loves aviation. The link is in the description on YouTube. This is how it looks. We can chit-chat with each other, talk to Captain Nick. You have Ask a Pilot. Feel free to ask him a question at any time. He's on there at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Any questions, answering a bunch of questions. So feel free to join. Appreciate you so much once again, Captain Nick. We have a question here from Rio. He said, how difficult do you think it is for a pilot who flies for a G5 Global 7500 to transition to a 737 and such others?
So the difficult part is the G550 is so new that, you know, and Gulfstream does a very good job of identifying what pilots want or safety concerns. And then in the next iteration, so like the G5 didn't have what the G550 has, and the G6 won't have the G550 has, and whatever. They'll take certain things and they will make it a little more automated or So for example, if there's a loss of pressure in like the G550, or I think the G5 has it too, or G4 might as well. If there's like a loss of pressure and no pilot input within a certain amount of time, the plane automatically will search the ground and the area around it and realize, okay, well, this is the highest obstacle, so I'm going to go down to 10,000 feet on my own. I will declare the emergency on my own, so ATC knows what's going on, even if the pilots are passed out, for example. When you go to a 7.3, man, we're still dealing with technology that some of our technology is from like the 60s and the 70s.
Wow.
You are very much more a manual pilot. Now, obviously, like for the safety, they add in a lot of cool stuff, and there's 2 of us up there and whatever, but it's definitely, even going from the Embraer 170 to the 737 was a big smack in the face when it comes to technology, because the 175 is so automated that when I went to the 7.3, I just kind of felt like I was wrangling a pterodactyl at all times when I was flying it. So yeah, it's not going to be a hard thing, because a plane's a plane, right? Like I can go from the 7.3 to an A380 and fly it around like it's just like a 7.3. There's just differences of like, where's this, or how does that, system operate, if you will, like Android versus iPhone. But you know how to use a phone. So it's kind of same.
Wow. Thank you so much that's a great question, by the way, Rio. Thank you so much for answering it, Captain Nick. So we have a question here from Houston. He said, how long does it take to become a pilot, and have you always been with Southwest?
No, I have not always been with Southwest. I'm very fortunate to be that. That's where I wanted to go when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I told my mom I was going to be a pilot at like 3, and then at 4 I was like, I'm going to be a Southwest pilot. And I was very fortunate to have that dream and never let that dream get too shaky.
Awesome.
I would say it depends on what route you want to go, on how long it's going to take you to get to that dream, though. It's like we've been talking about this Destination 225 or United Aviate. They're saying from the time you start until the time you're in the right seat, let's call it 4 to 6 years, which is absurdly fast. It's incredible that these opportunities are out there right now. If you were doing it on your own and you didn't want to go through one of those programs and you were just going to kind of go after work and do some flight lessons, I mean, it may take you quite a few years. I mean, I used to say that every rating, like the private is going to take you a year, the instrument's going to take you another 6 months, the commercial is going to take you another 6 months. Like, you start to add this stuff up, and then you got to build the time and whatnot. So it may take you quite a few years. So if you're dead set on, I want to be a pilot, look at these fast track programs, and try to jump as aggressively as you can while the opening is there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question. Let me see. We got a question here. Well, not a question, a comment here from, I think it was our CFI Captain Hobie. He said, be careful. Let me see 1 second. He said, also be very careful on signing contracts going into airline-owned schools. Okay. Got you.
Yeah, that's true, especially if they're going to have a minimum time. I know they were doing that at one point for, well, I can't say the name, but they were saying like, you wouldn't realize that you were signing these contracts, and it was like, you were going to do this for 2 years, you were going to do that for 3 years. And people, once they started realizing it, they were like, oh man, I'm kind of seat locked, if you will, for longer than I thought I was going to be. So yeah, read your terms and conditions for sure.
Got you. Thank you so much, Captain Hobie, for that suggestion. Also, Captain Nick also. Rocco said, do you think you can fly the 737 the whole flight without autopilot?
Oh yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I could. I have.
Oh, you have?
Flown plane. Yeah, so especially on the 170, there was once or twice where the autopilot and auto throttle was MEL'd, which is basically saying like the plane's still safe to fly. But like, so for example, like people who don't really understand this part, like when you get onto a plane, there can be things broken on it, and it's not scary like you would think like a car. We have an acceptable level where we look at something and we go, okay, this light is broken, for example, or the Wi-Fi is out, or this tray table or whatever. And we can look at that and go, okay, it's still safe to fly. And we run it through the FAA, we run it through Boeing. And so I've a couple times had no autopilot, no auto throttle. It's mentally tasking, man. I mean, it's, you're babysitting this plane, you're hand flying it the whole way. And it's not that it's hard. It's just when you're going that fast, at ground speed, sometimes you're at 550 knots, for example.
Wow.
That's 650 miles an hour. You're going that fast. Any little pitch deviation is a change in altitude very quickly. So you're constantly just suckered into watching this thing. So yes, I can. No, I don't want to.
Gotcha. Great answer. Houston here on TikTok, he said, out of all the airlines I've flown on, Southwest has been the best. Hey, shout out to Southwest.
Yeah,
He said, do you have a specific route that you love flying?
Yeah, so I answered this the other day in Discord too. Yeah, I'm a sucker for the West Coast, man. And that might be. Oh, I never even finished answering that other guy's question, dude. I'm sorry.
No,
he asked me if I've been at Southwest always. No, before Southwest, I was a regional pilot, both first officer and a captain. Before that, I was a personal pilot for a family. Before that, I was a medevac pilot. Before that, I was a flight instructor. And then part of that was on the regional level. I flew for a company called Republic, and this is going into this new question. With Republic, we were basically up and down the East Coast, and so as much as I love the East Coast, I think I saw it for so long, and I'm from the West Coast, so I'm a sucker for the West Coast. I love mountains. I love seeing the ocean, not the cold ones. Like I do love seeing stuff like that. So going into San Diego, going into Seattle, Portland, I'm a little biased going into them because that's where I'm from. But yeah, I love stuff like that, or like island flying, jump in the Bahamas, or Hawaii, for example, or whatever. I'm kind of a sucker for that. I think Rio's from Caicos, and I love going into there.
Nice. Beautiful. I love island hopping too. Absolutely beautiful. Somebody said, Rocco said, can the 737 stay leveled without autopilot for a certain altitude? Can it stay leveled?
Yeah, kind of. So like, I mean, without autopilot, like it's just a thing, right? Like, so it's how well have you set it up, and how stable is the atmosphere, how stable is your airspeed, things like that. So, and also, the whole time you're burning weight. So like the weight of your plane is changing nonstop. We're burning 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 pounds of fuel an hour, plus, passenger weight and whatever. So, if you get it into a cruise, get the speed where you want it, and then trim it out just right, yeah, I mean, it's going to fly pretty level for a certain period of time. But, you start hitting different winds, different pressure zones, like you burn off some fuel. It's not going to like stay where you want it to for a very long time. You're going to have to watch it.
For sure. So we have a question here. Oh, great answer, by the way. We have a question here from Antonio. So said, what are some advantages of being an experienced first officer versus a new captain?
So when you are an experienced first officer, generally your schedule is going to be awesome. So you're going to get the days off you want. I've got a wife at home and I want to spend Valentine's Day with her. Like I can bid that off because I have the seniority. When you're a brand new captain, you're kind of at the mercy of your seniority, which is the same when you're a brand new first officer, right? So you're going to get the schedule that they give you, like basically that no one else wants who's above you.
Wow.
And then as far as experience wise, when you're a brand new captain, man, that's a nerve-wracking experience. Like when I upgraded at my other airline and became a captain there, as a first officer, when you don't know something, you like inherently instinctively look to your left at the guy who has more, I say guy without sex. So it's guy, girl, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you look to your left and you're like, okay, have you seen this before? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then when you upgrade, you like look to your left and you see that reflection in the window and you're like, dude. So
it's up to you. It's all on you.
That scenario, I'll never forget that first time where I didn't know something and I looked to the left and literally was just like looking out a window and I was like, oh my God. And so it's not to say that your first officer doesn't actually know the answer to that, because every person on the planet knows something you don't. And I love seeing crew resource management where people utilize each other. Because back in like the 80s and the 70s, it was like the captain. You're like, dude, that day's on. Like every other leg, first officer flies. First officer is extremely knowledgeable. Sometimes I used to fly with FOs all the time, and I was like, are you just like a book, like a walking book? Like you just know so much stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but being a brand new captain is definitely nerve-wracking because you're like, you feel so much pressure on your shoulders.
Yo, that's crazy. Wow. So imagine looking to your left. That was an awesome story, man.
It happened. And then you see like your reflection in that window and you're like, you moron.
Oh man, that is hilarious. Great answer. Rio said, as a personal pilot, when the family travels, do you stay in the same city until the end of their vacation?
Sometimes it kind of depends. Like it depends on the scenario. So like if they were using that plane for something else, you may actually be taking that plane somewhere else to pick up like other friends or other family members or what have you. But that will depend on who you're flying for. The people that I was flying for were extremely family oriented, and I felt like another part of the family. So like if they were going out to a nice restaurant, so was I. Like if they were going out to this place, so was I. It was, I was Uncle Nick to the kids. But that's a pretty unique situation. Sometimes some of my other friends who are in the same industry, you'll talk to them and they were like, they kind of felt like chauffeur in a sense. So it just all depends, man. It's, it's the same thing with wherever you work. Like, do you feel valued? Do you feel like part of the team, or do you just feel like a number? So I was very fortunate to hold out for what I was doing.
Awesome. Nice. Awesome. Once again, thank you guys so much for hopping on. Right now, we're flying the beautiful MD-80 about to land into Miami, and we're also on the phone with the awesome Captain Nick, flies for Southwest. Justin, good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. Much love to you. And Hobie, yes, sir. I see you flying a beautiful F-18 next to me, man. Much love. Let me see anybody else. Chloe, hope you have a wonderful night. So we have a question here from Ryland. Said, if you can fly for any other airline, what would it be? I mean, that's he loves Southwest, man. So he's at Southwest right now.
It's called Southwest.
Yeah. You got to be loyal. So
yeah, no, I love my company. I will tell you, my second choice was United. That's why I keep bringing them up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do. I like them. I think they have a great product. I personally never cared about flying heavy metal across the pond.
Yeah, that
is so hard on your body. It sounds cool. It looks cool, man. I like every time I see a 7.8 or a 777. Of course my mouth hangs open, but that's not my thing.
Yeah.
And I was not chasing an upgrade. I was not chasing heavy metal. And so I knew that I wanted to work with some great people. I wanted to have a great time, and I wanted to make work not so much like work. Yeah. And it's more like just enjoying time with some friends and family while you're gone. You truly become like a second family. And so I knew Southwest was the way for me.
Awesome.
It's not going to be for everyone. Some people want to fly that 777 to Hong Kong. Like, you're probably not going to do it for Southwest. Like, we just don't do it right now.
Nice. Definitely understood. Let me see. Somebody said, let me double check. Yeah, good to see you, Justin. Justin said he's going to be hopping on with us soon. Awesome. Rio said, how does the bidding process work? The bidding process, he was speaking about seniority earlier and routes. So how does the bidding process work?
So essentially, and this is actually different for different airlines as well. Like Southwest, we bid for an entire month at a time. Whereas other airlines, they will bid for type of trip. So there's a thing called PBS bidding and versus line bidding. Yep. So I can literally see the things I want to fly, the actual trip, with their overnight, with their flights, with their flight numbers, with their times. I can see all of that for a month ahead of time.
Nice.
And I can be like, I want to do that because I want to go see Trip. This one has a Miami overnight, and I want to go see Rio up in Canada or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, I can see these things. Whereas with other airlines, you may be PBS where you can bid for certain trips, but mostly you're saying like, I want to start after 9 a.m. and I want to get done before 2 p.m. And you kind of tell it the things you want, and it tries to put, depending on your seniority. So if you have great seniority, you're going to get what you want. And then basically it goes down the list. So the number one bidder gets exactly what they want. Number two gets what they want as long as number one did not bid for that.
Gotcha.
And then number three, it goes through 1, 2, and now you get what you want. And so it's all seniority.
Nice.
Like I said, it was, Southwest, like technically when I first get awarded a trip, I'm with the same pilot for the entire month. And then we end up messing with our schedule and stuff. And half the time I don't even fly with that person anyways. But technically, if we both kept our schedule, I would be with the same pilot the entirety of the month.
Wow. Nice.
This has
nice,
never happened.
nice.
We don't do that.
Don't do that. Gotcha.
Yeah, we all end up messing with our schedule, and I'm like, oh, I got that, but I want this instead. So
Understood.
yeah, that's a really good question.
Nice. Rocco said, Trip, you should pick the next flight. Yeah, I think I should let Captain Nick pick the next flight. We're looking for like a hour or 45-minute flight, Captain Nick. So just keep in mind, we're going to be landing in about 5-10 minutes. So just let us know if you have any good flights in mind you'd like for us to take for like an hour or 45 minutes. Just let us know.
Is it an hour and 45?
No, just an hour. Just an hour flight.
Okay.
Yeah. So Rio said, have you ever met Captain Morgan? So basically, she's this famous pilot on TikTok.
I know exactly
she flies
who
for
she
Southwest.
is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. She. He asked if you ever met her.
Captain Morgan. I have not. Well, kind of. So when I was at a career fair, her and I talked for just a little bit, and then I've seen her walking around airports and stuff, but getting doing autographs and book deals and whatnot. But no, I've not been like, hey, my name is so. Yeah, I've never done. We've just kind of talked about it.
Okay, got you.
Time, I guess.
That's awesome. Rocco said, have you flown with Captain Ernie? I'm not sure who that is, but
I have not. But Ernie is. I've obviously watched his videos, and he was at that same. When I was in Nashville, I went to a thing called Women in Aviation, and he was there. And I walked up to him and was just like, hey, man, this was when I was applying to Southwest, actually. And I said, hey, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your videos. They help a lot, for aspiring people who want to get on with Southwest. So he's a extremely, extremely great guy. He was super humble. Big Earn is a great dude. Go watch his content. It's awesome stuff.
Awesome. I definitely got to check him out. I don't think of...
He's captain now.
Awesome. Definitely got to check it out. So Antonio said, so do pilots genuinely love when people ask them to see the cockpits after flights? So do they love when people ask them to see the cockpits?
I do. Yeah, I love that. And part of that is obviously time. So like if we're 30 minutes behind schedule, it's not that I don't want to. Yeah. It's I physically may not have the time. And that breaks my heart to do that. I think I've only ever had to do that once or twice because I generally just figure out a way to get you in for a second or two. Yeah, we tend to love it. Every once in a while, like I said, during that time, we're not actually we're not getting paid when passengers are coming on or off. Yeah, and that is the only time of the day to go get food or go to the bathroom or call our family. So doing that, if someone ever seems like, hey, I don't have the time, try to understand, man, they may not have eaten all day. Yeah. And this is their first chance. I sent that in the Discord. I showed Potbellies really quick. We made up time, which was the only reason I was able to run. I hadn't eaten all day. And so I literally ran off the plane, ran down to Potbellies, got something really quick, ran back to the plane. That was my only time eating that entire day. Wow. So if someone had been like, hey, can I come see the cockpit? I'm kind of making the sacrifice of okay, I just won't eat, but I want someone to be able to see that cockpit. Whereas other people might look at it and go, no, it's kind of my time. Yeah. But most people are not like that. Most people are like, absolutely, come on up.
Nice. I like that. Jared on TikTok said, is he a 747 guy or is he an Airbus A330 fan? What is his bigger aircraft
747 all day long.
747, nice.
Yeah, I love that plane.
Yeah, man, the beautiful, beautiful 747, the queen of the skies. It's sad that they're going out. They're going to be retired soon, but we're already retired. But yeah, that is
not if we have our way with it. We're going to buy one together and keep it around forever.
That is very, very beautiful plane, man. Definitely would love to keep that plane around forever, indeed. Let me see, Captain Nick. When you land in the airport, what airport he said? Have you landed at Houston? Have you ever been to the Houston Hobby Airport or Houston Bush Airport?
Both. Yeah. When I flew for Republic, we used to go to both of them, and obviously Southwest, we go to HOU, but
nice. Yeah,
I've gone there quite a few times. Bush, I think it is very confusing. Sometimes I used to try to avoid it actually with
really?
not that I didn't have to, but their taxiways, man, if you look those up, there's a lot going on there. So yeah, I've been a few times.
Wow. Rio said, have you ever been asked for trading cards?
Yes, and we went over this last time right in Southwest because I want them to. So we, for some reason, have not jumped on that. I had this kid, I think I broke his heart. I gave him wings.
Wow.
At one point, we actually stopped doing wings as well. And I
Really?
looked into like creating my own, because that's like part of when you become a pilot, man. Like I want to have wings to hand out to people, not just kids.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 30, 40 years old, like come up and ask for some wings. We got them again. But this trading card thing, I want them as well. And Southwest does not make them yet. So write into them, pester them on, Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, Facebook, whatever. Like, let's try to get some trading cards going, because I want them too.
All right. Nice. It's very, very beautiful. All right. So we touched down in the beautiful Miami. Kind of a little crazy win afterwards, but welcome to Miami, guys. All right. So the next flight, we have Captain Nick choose it. We're looking for one more flight suggestion for tonight, an hour. So appreciate you guys so much for the buddy emojis. Yeah, Captain Nick, do you have any suggestions of a flight route for about 1 hour?
Hold on, I'm looking at my wife because she knows these flights too.
Really? Shout out to your wife. Hey.
Louisville to Nashville.
Louisville to Nashville? That's a little tight. That's probably getting more like.
Oh gosh.
I'm always just
Chicago to Minneapolis.
Chicago here to Minneapolis. What is that? That might be a little short too, but check that one out, Trip.
All right, got you. Check it out. So you said Chicago to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
All right, got you. Thank you so much. Shout out to your wife, by the way. She's awesome.
Hey, Kansas. She is awesome. Kansas City to Colorado. That's a good one too, man.
Oh, Kansas City to Colorado.
That's a good one, dude. Check that one out.
All right, check Kansas City first.
DEN.
All right, got you. Let's check it out.
COS, Colorado Springs.
So Kansas over to Colorado. Got you.
It's got to be right in that timeline.
All right, so let's see. Kansas City. Your pro code is MCI, right? Yeah, KMCI.
I love how I just dumped that on her at the last second.
I'm saying she did a great job.
She did a good job.
That is funny.
Give me that kind of pressure, Trip.
I like that. All right, departure. You said arrival. You said Kansas City to where?
Either Denver or Colorado Springs.
All right, let's try DN first. That is hour and 38 minutes. A little bit too long. It depends on the plane. Also, this plane is a lot slower. And what was the other one?
Fast. Well, Colorado Springs is going to be about the same. COS.
Oh, okay.
What about BNA?
Yeah, is it right the same? BNA. Let's try that. Okay, BNA. All right. Beautiful Nashville. That's perfect. 1 hour, 2 minutes.
Perfect.
That will be amazing. Thank you so much, man. Awesome. So, guys, to the next flight, if you guys want to hop on, it's going to be from Kansas City over to Nashville. That's going to be the last flight of the night. I'm going to be taking off on the runway number. Let me give you guys real quick.
What's up, baby?
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to you, Captain Nick, and your awesome wife for that amazing.
I was all her, man.
Shout out to Captain Nick's wife.
Hanging out here.
That's awesome. All right, so going to be departing on runway number 19 right and arriving into the beautiful Nashville on runway number 13. Perfect. All right, so here we go. All right, so let me go ahead and get this flight started. Then I'm going to check for any more questions. Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining. You guys are amazing as we're flying and chit-chatting with the amazing Captain Nick. All right, here we go. He said, Captain Nick, should I use the E175 next flight? That's coming from Antonio. He's on Flight Sim right now.
I mean, I'm a fan. I don't know about that plane on Microsoft Flight Sim. I downloaded it as well when it first came out. Hopefully they've done some tweaks to it.
Yeah.
It was not as it should be when it first came out. Like I said, I haven't checked it in a long time, but the plane itself, I love 175, man. I'll always have a special place in my heart for that one.
Nice.
Or go with like an F-22 or something. Just mix it up.
F-22 is always good. Always good. Everybody said they love the suggestion. W suggestion. Let's go. Nice.
I'm not giving you props for the suggestion.
Nice. Let me see. Antonio said, are there any things you hate about flying in the Northeast?
Mainly just like the whole flying in the Northeast part, really. No, it's congested, and the weather tends to bite you pretty quick. So like that whole triangle there, well, I say triangle, but like Philly's kind of part of that too. Like when you're talking about JFK, Newark, LaGuardia, Boston, Philly, man, I cannot think of the name of that airport that's Teterboro, like all that whole area. When weather hits, man, like you really cause a problem with all of those airports all at the same time. They all are in that northeast sector. ARTCC gets really backed up. Air traffic control gets really backed up with them.
Yeah.
So I have had more delays, holding, diversions when it comes to the northeast of the United States. But it's also some beautiful flying, man. Going into Boston on a beautiful blue day, going into New York, the approaches that we do into New York, some of the coolest approaches you'll ever do. You know, you fly right by downtown Manhattan.
Nice.
Like sometimes I'm like, why did they vector us so close to this? It's so cool. Like you fly right up the Hudson.
Nice.
But when there's weather, that area can get really touchy for sure.
Wow. Wow. So great question, by the way. Thank you so much for the answer. Let me go ahead and take off real quick. Rio said, who likes Philly? No one likes Philly. Wow. Hey, shout out to Philly, man. All right. So,
hey, did the Chiefs win today?
Great question. Did the Chiefs win today? The plane is not.
Captain Nick gets to ask some questions too, man.
Yeah, definitely. Did the Chiefs win today, guys? Let me see. So Alexis said, Captain Nick, there are more Southwest airplanes in Hobby International Airports than Bush International Airports. So
yes.
Are there?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, we go into Houston Hobby. I mean, we also go into Bush, but like Houston Hobby, that's a base for us.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Denver the other day. Like Denver's our biggest base. You know, Dallas Love versus Dallas Fort Worth, which, by the way, I think we're going to start going to Dallas Fort Worth, so America needs to watch out. But like Chicago Midway versus Chicago O'Hare, like we dominate those places. They're bases for us.
Nice. Let me see. Oh yeah, the Chiefs did win. Wow, nice. They won 13-12. That was a close game. Wow. Okay. Somebody said, do you like Landon Tampa International Airport? Landon.
Sure. Yeah, Tampa's a great one. I love Tampa. I think, the heat is a little much for me in the summer, but if we lived anywhere in Florida, I think Tampa would probably be the place, or Miami if we'd move in with Trip. But
I was about to say,
no, we're coming to live with you, Trip.
Awesome. 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 Typical Ken, good to see you. Welcome to the stream.
Brian, Tampa.
Oh yeah. Brian does live in Tampa also, so shout out to Brian. Brian said also he agreed that Philadelphia has a beautiful approach. Awesome. Yes. Typical Ken said he lives in Jacksonville. Nice. Jacksonville is very beautiful indeed. Very, very beautiful.
Well, and they've got the F-15s there in Jacksonville.
Oh, they do? Nice.
Yep.
Jacksonville is very, very beautiful. Did I miss any questions? Guys? Yeah, Travel to the Caribbean, good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. He just hopped in and shoots a question right away. I love it. He said, Captain Nick, how many times approximately have you flown into Columbus, John Glenn as a pilot? He said approximately. He wants to know exactly how much times. I'm pretty sure he's not going to know offhand, but yeah, good question. How many times have you flown into Columbus?
Let me think on that for just a second. Okay?
Yeah,
and then I'll get back on that one.
Got you, no problem. But yeah, once again, appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Wyland, good to see you, man. I see you on here on TikTok. Thank you so much. You say, hey, man, how is it going? Going great, man. Just doing a beautiful flight over to the beautiful, where are we going to? I forgot. But appreciate you so much for hopping on, man.
You're going to Nashville.
to where? Nashville. Yeah, Nashville. Shout out to you, man. Nick, have you ever been to Minneapolis?
I have been to Minneapolis. Columbus, I have flown in there 44 times, and I've flown out of there 45 times.
Wow. Man, you pulled up the stats on
this. So I can answer questions like that.
Great question, man. That is awesome. So now that you notice you have the logbook, you guys are free to ask questions like that. How many times have you been to Miami?
Yeah.
Nah, man.
Miami, let me look that up.
All right, awesome. That is pretty cool.
Miami. I have flown into there 70 times. I've flown out of there 75 times. And so let me, because I know this question's about to get slammed in there.
Yeah.
I have flown, so like sometimes when we fly into there, we're not always the one physically flying into or out of Deadhead.
Yeah.
Or, if I ended my trip. So I used to be kind of based in Miami. So I would not deadhead. I would, catch my own flight into Miami, right? So it didn't count. I didn't log it, obviously, because I wasn't flying it. But then I would like run over and get on my plane, and then I would be doing the departure. So that's why like the departures may not match the arrivals. It's not like
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
No, now I get it. I get it.
Not like it
Gotcha.
just went really horribly wrong, and I'm like, I'm not gonna count that one.
Thanks so much for clarifying that. That is awesome. Appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Try to get to 35, maybe 40 likes tonight. We're at 28. Much love. We have a question here from Hobie, the CFI. Said, Nick, do you use electric or paper logbook? Electric or paper logbook?
Man, that was such a pain to, if you don't use electronic, man, get that as quick as you can. So electronic logbooks weren't like a big thing when I started. I feel like I'm like 400 years old when I say like that. Like, I'm like, hey, there weren't no flying. But when I first started, I still have all my jet logbooks and like all the paper logbooks, the green ones that you know of. But when I was in the regional world, I had moved over to an electronic logbook, and so I actually paid a company to go through painstakingly and put every single flight into my electronic logbook so that it was all accurate, it all matched. And that was such a process, man, because, like you guys see me now doing like Dulles to Denver. It's a 4-hour flight. Like I build 4 hours at a time. When you're flight instructing, so like, hobby pilot, when you're flight instructing, you may get like a 0.5 or a 0.7. So when you have 3,000 hours at under an hour at a time, that's so many entries to do. So if you've not started an electronic logbook, get on that right now while you can, because it is only going to pile up more. And consider using a service if you're over like 2,000 hours, it may just be worth it.
Nice. Hobby said he has a follow-up question. What company do you use to do that?
I use Log 10 Pro. That's my go-to.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's like $75 a year, but it's so worth it. They're a great company, and they're very fast at answering. So because logbook is our life, it's our livelihood. So they're very quick answering back.
Nice. Yep. Thank you so much for answering that. We have a question here. Somebody said, how many times have you been to Portland?
PDX or Portland, Maine?
Good question. So to the person that asks, is it Portland, Maine or PDX? All right, so we're gonna get back once around to answer that question. We have another one. Everybody's asking, Scott, is it Captain? How many times have you been to JAX?
Oh, Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Let me look. 37 departing, 36 arriving.
Wow. Okay, nice. Another one coming up. North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, how many times have you been?
RDU, not many. 26 coming in, 27 leaving.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
I love that, by the way.
Nice. See, there we go. So Ryland says PDX. Not
many. So that place has a special place in my heart. I'm from there.
Oh, nice.
And if you know the area, I'm actually from Vancouver, Washington. So if you threw a rock, you'd hit it. And so I was extremely excited to get on with Southwest. The answer is 8, by the way. 8 in, 8 out.
Oh, nice.
I was extremely excited to get on with Southwest because, like I said, Republic, basically, if you drew a line right down the middle of the country, we stayed on the east side, and for the most part, SkyWest stays on the west side. And so when I was with Republic, all I did was East Coast stuff. So if you want to know how many times I went into like DCA or something, it's like tons.
Wow.
But this whole West Coast side is still, I say relative, it's very relative, but it's still very new to me. So like Portland, only 8 times, but I love it. Seattle, only a few times, but I love it.
Gotcha. We have a great question here from Rio. Rio said, let's say y'all have an emergency and the closest airport is in Canada. Would you guys land in Canada or try to divert somewhere in the United States?
Dude, I'm coming to Canada. I'm going to come see you. I mean, of course. No, when it's an emergency, everything goes out the window. I mean, whatever makes the most sense for me and my crew at the time, that's what I'm doing. And I don't care where it is, who it's with. The book goes out the window, and you have every legal right to do that to the extent of the emergency. So I can't just like do a barrel roll and then they're like, dude, why'd you do that? I can't be like, well, for safety. It just doesn't work like that. But like, if it made more sense to go into Canada, like Toronto, for example, like, yeah, absolutely, it's a great airport. I'm going to go there. They have good services. I'm not going to try to go into like Portland, Maine, for example, versus Toronto. Like Toronto's the obvious winner of that one. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yep. Got you. So there's your answer. I love that. That's a great question, man. So basically, safety first.
Absolutely.
Understood.
Always.
Awesome. Our CFI in the chat, Hobie, he said, I love my paper logbook for sentimental reasons, but I'm at the point where I definitely need to switch to electronic.
Yes, 100%, man. If you haven't by now, get that going, and at least, because you can. The beautiful thing about like an electronic one is you can always go back, right? So like, start your electronic one like today, like when we get off the stream. Don't leave right now. I know what you're doing. Just stay on the stream right now. But then when we get done, go download. Do your research. I like Logtem Pro, but do your research. Figure out the one you want to go to, and then every flight you do from now on, put that in there, and then you can go back and just kind of slowly introduce the flights that you did way back in the day. But I'm telling you right now, when you start applying for airlines, you are gonna want the digital version or an Excel spreadsheet. You're gonna want something because they ask weird questions. It's like, how much dual night cross country IMC do you have? To go through your logbook and do the math on that is gonna kill you. So get on that electronic logbook, if only, and you can keep your paper one. I know a lot of people that do that. They do their digital, and then when they come home, they do their paper one for nostalgia. I get that, and I still have mine. Mine are up in my closet right now. But for application purposes, I can click a button and get all the info I need to apply for a job. Or like right now, if I asked you how many times did you fly into blah blah blah, you're just gonna sit there and flip through your paper logbook, or are you gonna like type it in and have the computer tell you what it is? So it's worth it, man, for sure.
Awesome. Great answer. Appreciate you guys so much for 30 likes. Let's get it. Thank you guys so much for smashing the like button. Let's go. Much love to you guys. Once again, we're on our way over to the beautiful Nashville. Shout out to Willie. Everybody in the chat, everybody's flying right now. I see Willie flying. I see Antonio flying. We got Brian, Rockout, XRP, Hobie, JJ, Zimp, Ryland, all you guys, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on this beautiful stream as we're talking to Captain Nick, asking him some questions. So we have another question here by, let me see, 1 second. So basically they're asking about different places you've been to. So Antonio asks, how many times have you been to Philadelphia? PHL.
Philly quite a bit. 128 times coming in, 132 flights going out.
I think that's the
I
most.
just like the stream, by the way. You guys all need to go in there and like that stream.
Hey, let's go. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Captain Nick. But yeah, I think Philadelphia, is the most. The 100 and what? Wow. That's a lot of times.
Yeah, 132.
Wow.
Well, I was based in D.C. for a long time, so let's look that one up.
Oh, D.C., yeah. Let's
321 departing and 312 arriving.
Woo!
Yeah,
D.C. definitely took the cake with that one. We have another one here. Willie said KPGV Airport. KPGV Airport. How often?
I've never even been there. I don't know where that's at.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, Willie. I don't know what the name of that place is. Somebody said Oklahoma, OKC.
Oklahoma I try to stay away from. That's the head of the FAA.
Really?
6 times in, 6 times out.
6 times in, 6 times out. Nice. Greenville, North Carolina. Nice.
Walk into the Lions Den.
Nice. And so they said, wow, next time you fly to Philly, Captain Nick, I'll make sure to wave at your plane. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
I love Philly.
Let me see. So Jake said, in an emergency situation, you have let me see. I'm not understanding the question. 1 second. All right. So Jake said he asked another question. Has Nick seen the Netflix documentary, The Snow Society, about the plane crash in the Andes? I believe it was in the 70s. Have you seen that documentary about the Snow Society?
I've not. I mean, I know the crash though, and I know the cannibalism and all that stuff. If that's what we're going with, but I've not seen the actual documentary. Is it on Netflix? I'll watch it.
Gotcha. Nice. So how many times have you been to KATL Atlanta?
Atlanta was just there last week. 56 times in, 59 times out.
Wow. Nice. Shout out to Atlanta. OWLS, good to see you, man. LZ, wait, what in the world? We got a $50 gifted from Brian W in the chat from Brian. Let's get it. Thank you so much, man. He said for your sister's birthday tomorrow or whatever. Hey, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much. Definitely, we're going to be taking her out tomorrow for her birthday. So thank you so much for that, Brian. Much love to you, man. That is amazing, man. W in the chat for Brian. Thank you so much, man. All right.
Awesome, Brian. Good job.
That is awesome, man. Thank you so much. Willie said, Captain Nick, do you think he could be a school bus driver? Because Willie is a school bus driver. So he said, do you think he could be a school bus?
Not a chance, dude. Not a chance.
Oh, man. Yeah,
I appreciate what you do. Thank you for your service. Thanks
Me
for always
too.
getting people to and fro on a safe manner. But my wife's grandfather was a school bus driver and absolutely loved what he did as well for the community. But no, myself, no, I don't think so, man.
Yeah. Willie tells us about all the struggles he faced every day. Had a kid throwing paper at him and all this stuff, people fighting. So yeah, I definitely tip my hats off to Willie because that is definitely a stressful job. That is crazy. Well, once again, another round of applause for Brian, man. Thank you so much for the 50 gifted, man. I really appreciate that, man. Much love to you, man. Big shout out to Brian. Much love. So Ryan Rockout asks, have you ever flown from FLL to IND? So Fort Lauderdale over to
yeah. I've been to Fort Lauderdale quite a few times,
nice.
Probably 20 or 30 or whatever. And then Indy is actually the hub, it's the headquarters of the last airline that I was at. So I used to go to Indy all the time.
Nice. W in the chat for JJ with a $2 gifted. Thank you so much, JJ. Much love to you, man. I really appreciate that, bro. You guys are absolutely awesome. Much love to you, JJ. So yeah, how many times did you search it up about the Kind, K-I-N-D? I know Rockout is from Indiana, so he loves talking about Indiana.
I've been to Indiana. It looks like 40 times.
Oh, wow, that's a good amount. Nice, awesome. Rylan said, how many times have you been to KSYR?
Oh, I've been there quite a few times. I have
Really? Nice.
Fun story about Syracuse.
Where is that? Syracuse. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's saying 8, and I feel like that's not right because I used to go to Syracuse quite a bit.
Yeah.
When I first started flying for an airline, I had my multi-tool, if you know what like a multi-tool, like just like a little screwdriver.
Yeah.
And I had a multi-tool in my bag because I was still used to being a flight instructor and a first pilot and medevac pilot. So like you want to have one. Like that oil door gets hot. And so you use like the pliers, for example, to open it up. So anyways, I've got this multi-tool in there.
Oh boy.
And I'm going through Syracuse. I've gone through all sorts of places. I've been to the Bahamas with it. I've been to all sorts of places. And this guy snapped when he saw it in my bag.
Oh no.
And it turned into like a little lockdown situation.
No way.
Embarrassing because I'm like, I'm the pilot of the plane, and if you know anything about the cockpit, we have a crash act in the cockpit. If Google an image of a crash act, things are crazy looking.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, he freaked out about my multi-tool because he's like, "You've got a blade in the cockpit," and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
What?
So yeah, that happened in Syracuse. This guy was excited.
Yeah, this is the crash axe right here. Guys, this is how it looks.
These things are no joke. Crash axes are no joke.
Yeah.
It's meant to go to metal. I mean, we're meant to take them like in a survival situation, like God forbid, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I can definitely see how it happened because you're used to flying in a CF5, just having things in your bag just in case, you know, like you said. And this guy just went crazy because he saw it. Wow.
Yep.
That is a funny story.
In your back, like, dude, I'm not carrying around a katana.
Oh,
samurai.
You said they had a whole lockdown?
Oh, it was just it was a big deal.
What?
Push a button and essentially like everything kind of comes to his area, like kind of like not a panic button, if you will, but essentially. Yeah, it was a scenario. I was like, what is happening here?
That is crazy. Wow. Hey, double the chat for JJ again for another $2 gifted. Let's go. Thank you so much, JJ. Much love to you, man. I really appreciate you. See, another $2 to make your sister's birthday extra special. Hey, thank you so much, man. I don't know. Sometimes she watches the stream and doesn't say anything in the chat. So shout out to my sister. Might have to text her and tell her to watch the stream real quick. She's getting some birthday greetings right now. Shout out to her. But yeah, appreciate you guys so much for every donations, man. Has Captain Nick ever on a no-fly list anyone? Have you ever had to no-fly list anyone on an airplane for something they'd done in a plane?
So we don't directly deal with the list in general. I would imagine some of the things that have happened on my plane have potentially led to one. But like,
Yeah.
I don't deal with that. I mean,
Okay.
like that list specific, like I'm not going to personally put someone on a list. But I would, like, I'll call the police, I'll call FBI, Department of Homeland Security, like whoever warrants the situation. And then they will handle it. Like once we get to the gate, I keep the door closed because it's a locked, bulletproof door.
Yeah.
We get to the gate, and then they come on, they deal with the threat or the security incident or whatever it is. And then they may get on a no-fly list, but I'm not like walking someone down to like the principal's office and like putting them on the list or anything.
Got you. No problem. While it said, sorry, my phone froze, but Captain Nick, have you been to Milwaukee before? MKE.
Oh, yeah. I actually diverted to Milwaukee once or twice
Really?
too, going into Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, I've not been there many times. I've been there, looks like 7 times. But yeah, it's a good diversion point for Kansas City and Chicago as well.
Nice.
One of my first diversions actually went into Milwaukee.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Shout out to you, Study Balls. Good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. Ken said, have you ever, Brian, I see what you're talking about, man. Ken said, have you ever been on a flight? One of your planes had to make an early landing. Huh. So like an emergency landing.
Yeah. It's like diversions.
Yeah.
You know, fuel. Sometimes it's not even like necessarily an emergency. So like going into, DC one time, and you're shooting an approach, you can't find the runway. Okay, let's go around. Let's try it again because of the weather. And then, hey, still can't get in. I'm not going to keep messing with this. Let's go over to Baltimore. Let's gas up, wait for the weather to change, and let's do it again. Or one time going into LaGuardia, they threw us into a hold because there was a plane that was disabled on the runway. And they were like, yeah, we'll have this cleared up in 10 minutes. So, of course, we go into hold, and immediately you start running fuel calculations and getting diversion airports and whatever. And you realize, okay, with what they've told us, with what we have, with where we need to go, our bingo time is this. And then you tell ATC, you're like, hey, I just can't hold for as long as you think you're going to need us to. So at this point in time, we're going to have to bug out and go to, a different place. And then, you'll do that, gas up. So it's not an emergency or anything. It's just, I don't have the ability. It's like stopping for gas on your way to work. Like, you didn't plan on doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
But your car didn't have what it needed or what you wanted. And so you stop really quick, get some gas, and then continue on. So I've done that quite a few times. But yeah, I've had a couple emergencies that I've also had medical emergencies or just passenger disturbances. I've had, quite a few of those too.
Got you. Let me see. Willie said, happy birthday to Trip Sister. Hey, thank you so much, Willie. Let me see. Rio said, W in the chat for Willie, by the way. Thank you so much for the $2 gifted. Much love to you, man. Thank you so much, Willie. So we have a question here by Rio. So what's the longest you've ever had to hold? What's the longest you've ever had to hold?
I don't know. I've been in holding for 2 hours before. 2
hours? What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, because I don't even remember anymore. It's just because what happens is it's not just your plane. So what's kind of cool about holding is if you kind of picture this in your mind, you've got all these planes using airways or using SIDS or stars, which is just a way to funnel people in. So they're not all just coming from like any random direction. So it's like highways in the sky. And so what they do is they're like, hey, we need to put everyone into holding, and they will stack you. So like, okay, Trip, I need you to go into holding, 5 mile legs at 10,000 feet. And then Justin, you're going to be at 11,000 feet, same legs. And then Nate, you're going to be at 12. And then Nick, you're going to be at 13. Rio, you're going to be at 14. So what's kind of cool is you go into this hold, and then all of a sudden you like look up and down, and you're all flying this like racetrack pattern together. It's really, really cool looking. Cool. And then what happens is, as they can take you, like Trip, you're at the bottom, right? And so they'll be like, okay, Trip or American Airlines, or whatever, continue on, blah, blah, blah. And they give you your new clearance, and then you'll leave the pattern. And then I think Justin was next. So Justin, they're going to drop you from 11 to 10. And then, Nate, they're going to drop you from 12 to 11. And then me, they're going to drop from 13 to 12. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's kind of like a Pez dispenser. It's like one leaves out. These guys all drop 1,000 feet. Another one leaves out. Boom, we all drop 1,000 feet. So it's kind of cool to see. But like you pull the power back so much because you're not racing in a holding pattern. Like you're trying to conserve whatever you can. So you can, loiter for a long time in that holding pattern.
Nice. That's pretty cool to know, man. And we actually had a discussion a few months back about what's harder, being a pilot or an ATC controller, and just dealing with that situation is very, very tedious. Because, for instance, what happened in Japan the other day, RIP, all the souls. The ATC audio came out, and they cleared the plane to take off and land at the same time, and it was just confusion. So, the job of the ATC is very, very important. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Let me see. Captain Nick, what's the difference between LNAV and VNAV? I'm an Airbus guy. That's from Antonio.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's still the same thing, though. Like, LNAV is lateral, V is vertical, right?
Yeah.
So, we use them both at the same time, generally, because I want the lateral portion, but I also generally want the vertical portion, vertical guidance. And so, like, when I'm up at cruise, and I'm not on a star yet, I'm kind of just using the lateral, and the vertical is just like in an altitude hold.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, our lateral, we use actual LNAV, or I may use like heading, whatever. Those are, localizer. Those are all my lateral guidances. And then vertical, I mean, I use like flight level change or vertical speed or actual VNAV. It's just a different way to get to the same thing.
Wow. Okay. Great explanation. Great question also, Antonio. Much love. Those are very important to learn how to fly an autopilot. For sure. Bruce said, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those in Turks and Caicos, because Southwest lands during the busy time with Air Canada, WestJet, and American Airlines and United. Okay, nice. Shout out to Turks and Caicos. Beautiful. Justin said, Nick, how many times have you flown into Minneapolis?
MSP?
Mm-hmm. In Minneapolis.
15.
15. Nice. Awesome. Typical Ken said, what's the biggest plane have you flown in? Yeah, doesn't mean flying yourself, but maybe as a passenger. What's the biggest plane you've actually flown?
Probably the 787.
Nice.
It's a great plane.
Yeah, that's a great plane. I flown it the first time last year from Miami to Philadelphia. It was a beautiful flight. Beautiful plane.
Oh, yeah, mine was Philadelphia to Chicago.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of them in Philadelphia. Beautiful. Nice. Study Mouse said, all right, got you. Shout out to you, Study Mouse. Have a wonderful night. Travel Equipment said, Captain Nick, is CMH a hub base for Southwest? Do you know?
Not for Southwest. Columbus was a base for Republic, which is why I went in there so many times. And then we also did quite a bit of training close by to that. There's a flight safety really close by.
Awesome. Let me see. Ken said his is 747 to Israel. Oh, he took a 747 over to Israel. Wow. Nice. How long was that flight?
Honestly, before, never when it was flying. Those are beautiful.
Nice. What's the longest flight you've ever been on, Captain Nick, in terms of even as a passenger or a pilot? The longest flight?
Oh, I mean, going to Amsterdam was,
wow,
9 hours, something like that.
Sheesh.
And then obviously coming back, you've got the headwind, so it ends up being longer. I think there to Atlanta was probably the longest one I've ever done.
The Amsterdam flight was a passenger, or?
Yeah, passenger.
Got you. Yeah, some people always ask, what do you actually do? What are passengers supposed to do for 9 hours? Dude, is sleep, watch TV? Is it good? They say doctors say it's good to walk around to actually stretch your legs, because you can't be sitting for 9 hours. But yep. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, make sure you have a book. Make sure you have some movies or whatever. Like, have stuff. Like what always blows my mind is we go on like a long flight and people show up with like nothing ready. I'm like, you knew you were going on this flight, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you knew you were going to be on a 9-hour flight, dude. Make sure you have stuff downloaded and ready to
go.
Yep. Yeah, sleep. Like, on the way, what they do is from the U.S. to somewhere international, we plan the flights so that you will sleep, and then by the time you wake up, you're ready to enjoy your day in the new location. Because, like, we're very American centric. So, like, when you leave, Miami, for example, and you land in Germany or whatever,
yep,
we're imagining you going to Germany for vacation. And so we want you to sleep. That's why it's always like a red-eye flight, right? It's always at night. We want you to sleep and then wake up at like 5 a.m. in Germany. And then on the way back, we're trying to get you to land sometime around like 6 p.m. That way you can go home and go to sleep. It's kind of weird how.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Willie, that is a very interesting question. I don't think I'm gonna ask Captain Nick that question, but that is hilarious. If Captain Nick wants to open a chat and read your question, sure. But I'm gonna keep it kid friendly. So
Okay.
Rio said, "Do you have to do any inspection every time you land, even though you don't switch aircrafts?"
Yes, I do. And that's because we've got all these different moving parts, right? So like when I land, it's not just the plane comes to the gate and then the plane leaves. Like we've got trucks all around us. We've got all sorts of stuff it's like a pit crew. Like we get to the gate and then like, boom, we're just like swarmed by Provo or like, like provisioning, right? Provo. And they're taking carts on and off. And we've got baggage handlers in the front and in the back. We've got fuelers. We've got maintenance comes over. So like when I do my walk around, it's not just like, yes, I'm staying on the same plane, but 100 people have touched that plane from the last time I looked at it. And so before we take off, I'm going to do another walk around. I'm going to look at, the inside and the outside to make sure everything's good to go. And, because every once in a while stuff happens, man. We've got a baggage handler that accidentally bumps into the plane and is nervous. He doesn't want to say something. So like, I need to catch that. And then obviously we're looking for contraband and whatever else. But we do a walk around on every flight.
Got you. That is actually good though. So just to make sure everything's fine, just to have a visual.
Always safety, man. Safety is always our
safety number one
concern in everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Willie, that was hilarious, man. Let me see. Wyland, good to see you, bro. Much love. I think you hopped over from TikTok and joined us over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. You said, "Hey, Captain Nick, what is your scariest flight if you have one?"
I think one of the beautiful things, and it's kind of a political answer, but it's true.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have scary flights because we train so much for everything, like ditching, engine failures, bird strikes, lightning strikes, which yes, have been hit multiple times.
Wow. Wait, what?
Let's get the chat going with that.
Hold up. You just dropped a bomb.
So I mean, like, you don't necessarily have. Now, have there been tense moments? Absolutely. Any bursts, right? Like, okay, we were talking about lightning strikes. The first time I got hit by lightning, like that was nerve wracking because I was like, now what? And then you realize like the plane can take it. We have static wicks, like they're meant to handle this kind of stuff. I mean, that's not to say that there wasn't a, little exit wound or whatever, but like we deal with stuff. We're trained to deal with stuff. And as long as you have so much training, then it's not necessarily scary anymore. It might be a pucker moment because you're like, whoa, what just happened? Right. So like when the Miracle on the Hudson, when they hit those birds, when he was talking about the human factor, we're not robots, man. Like when we hit like all those birds, it's like, what just happened? And then you have to assess like, how is my plane handling this? Because maybe we power right through it. We've taken a bird before and literally the engine like eats it up, shoots it out, and you hear like a pop, but then like the engine, the RPM might change a little bit and then it comes right back up and it's like, okay, it's good to go. So you have to take all this stuff into consideration. So there might be like that moment of, holy cow, what just happened?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, man, we train for this over and over and over. And when we go into training, there was an AOPA study that talked about when we fly, they compared it to a desk job. Every hour of flying, your brain is working at 2 hours of the considered like 9 to 5 desk job.
Wow.
Every hour of flying, that's VMC, just hanging out. Every hour of flying in IMC, which is like in the clouds, shooting approaches, that's a 1 to 4. So for every 1 hour I'm flying in the clouds and having to shoot instrument approaches and STIDs and stars and all that stuff, it's 4 hours at an office job. And for every hour I'm in the simulator, it's a 1 to 8.
Wow.
Well, I do 6 hours of sim a day for 4 days.
Wow.
So that's 48 hours in 1 day of brain stuff times 4 days. I'm not going to do the math on that. But you start doing the math and you're like, we train, man. And we train hard.
It's a lot of training.
And we train for everything.
That is amazing.
Everything.
Wow.
But it's good, though. What you want in your pilots, a lot of what they're doing.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah. So we should definitely feel comfortable flying, guys, because the pilots are definitely trained well. And for every scenario you can think of, there's nothing you can think of that a pilot is not trained for. So that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Captain Nick. Really appreciate that. Oh, Rylan, that's a good question. I've seen a bunch of videos on this where pilots make that mistake. Is it, have you ever accidentally spoken to ATC when you're meant to talk to the passengers?
No, I'm a perfect human. And have never made, yeah, absolutely, man. Like, we all make that mistake, and you look down and you see where your control panel is on, and you're like, ugh, and like, you know, it's coming. Like that. There's a famous one in Atlanta, and this guy makes this long speech.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking
about. And he makes like, seriously, he flies up the radio for like 3 minutes, which in aviation speak is like eternity.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, when he lets go of the button, no one chimes in, and ATC goes, "Oh, seriously, we're gonna let him get away with that?"
Yep, I remember posting that video.
Everyone just berates him for it, and it's all in good fun because we've all done it. Like, it's not, you know, it's not like, oh my gosh, he's so dumb. It's like, yep, no, I've been there, and now I get to at least poke the bear a little bit because it's gonna be me tomorrow. Yes, I've absolutely done it. I've talked to ATC thinking it was a passenger, and I've talked to passengers thinking it was ATC.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm human. I'm fallible.
That's awesome. Somebody said, can you give us an in-flight announcement you would do on Southwest? Oh man.
Yeah, sure. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your Captain Nick and Captain Tripp. We're on a flight to my once home of Nashville International. Flight time en route is 30 minutes. Please sit back, relax, enjoy the flight. Thanks for flying with us.
Let's go. And actually, that no one asked that question. I'm the one that asked it because I wanted to hear it, but that was awesome.
I'll give you a better one at some point. You got to give me like the full details.
Got you. That was amazing. That was amazing. The fact that you could just do that randomly and just come up with stuff to say, that is awesome. I think that's
what I'm saying. Like, as long as you realize like you're just talking to other people, and like what's funny is I actually do my announcements. You know, I'm not like one of those guys who's like, ladies and gentlemen, like, I'm talking to you as if I'm talking to you on the phone, right? So like right now, I know other people are listening, but like in my mind, I'm just, you know, like I'm just talking one-on-one to you, just like we did, you know, just a couple days ago. Like I just called you on the phone, and we just talked. I'm not nervous to talk to you. And so when I have that, you know, that microphone in my hand and I'm talking to passengers, I very much try to think of it as like I'm talking to a friend in the back, and I want them to know the pertinent information that I want them to know, but I'm not trying to like make it some crazy, you know, like we talked about that too, where you'll hear, you know, pilots be like, oh, it's 12 degrees Celsius and there's a low stratus overcast layer, and you're like, what are you doing, man? Like, no one cares about this. And so I try to make it just very friendly and human.
Sometimes it's hard to even understand what they're saying because it sounds so use a lot of different words. Exactly.
Like an auctioneer, I'm like, dude, slow down. Like, they're not buying a cow from you.
Exactly. Antonio said, thank you so much for that, by the way, man. That was awesome. The fact that you were on the spot with just to say whatever, that is awesome. That is a good quality as a pilot, man. That's awesome. Antonio said, as a pilot, do you feel guilty for cutting the lines at airports?
Yeah, and actually, I'm such an empath that most of the time I don't, unless I absolutely have to.
No way.
Like, if it's a food line, I don't do it at all, because that's my choice. If it's a coffee line, I don't do it either. I see a lot of pilots who do. Now, if it is a, so like I have a thing called known crew member, KCM, and so I go through my own little special crew line, and every once in a while I get randomed, and so they'll pull me out for additional screening. We are actually supposed to cut the line at that point because it's a security thing, but most of the time I try not to, especially if, you know, there's like 3, 4, 5 people, and I've been guilty of like, even if there's like 20, I just kind of stand in the back because the empath in me is like, dude, don't cut these people. But most people get it. Like, you walk up in full uniform and you're like, I'm so sorry, I have to jump in front of you. But every once in a while you have someone who pushes back, and I'm like, really? Like, I've got to get to a flight, man. I'm flying you somewhere.
That is crazy. Wow. So you say sometimes you don't even want to do it because, but I understand that. I definitely understand.
Too much of an empath, man. I'm like, no one wants to be cut. No one wants to be cut in line.
Yep, that's true. That is so true. Rio has a question here. He says, so let's say when there's an airline recall, like when they had the 737 MAX issue, how do they decide who goes first when retaining everyone? retraining everyone.
Oh yeah, it's just everyone at the same time. Like they don't. It'll just be a mandate for everyone. It's not like okay, Southwest, you're first. Now I will tell you, we are the premier carrier for the 737. We order more 737s than anyone else on the planet. And so the kind of the good thing is like Boeing comes to us before they build the new 737 and they say, hey, what do you want in the new one, or like in the next year or in the next version or whatever. And so we tend to be in talks with Boeing faster or more often than anyone else on the planet, because we use the 737 not just primarily, but we have more of them than anyone else. We buy more of them than anyone else, because we're constantly like restocking our fleet. Like we retire planes every day and then we'll get a new one in its place. So like even though you see, okay, like Southwest has like 800 737s, well, yeah, because we just retired 2 yesterday, but we got 3 in on order. You know what I mean? So like, we're not just hoarding 737s, but yeah, we like when there's a big deal like that, it just gets a mass blast out to everyone who flies a plane, and they're like, we need to talk about this. It's not selective necessarily, and then we just put something into play with the FAA. Like we're all working together. So like we're getting in touch with the FAA and we're going, hey, how do you want to handle this? And the FAA is talking to Southwest, going, hey, what do you want to do about this? So it's definitely it's a lot. It's a lot, like a lot of moving parts that are going into it.
For sure. As Brian said, can y'all believe the live is almost over? Seems like it just started. I'm saying, man, it's already been almost 2 hours. We only have 30 minutes left. That is crazy, man. Big shout out to Captain Nick for staying the whole time, man. I really appreciate you so much, man. Much love.
Do you have something at some point whenever we get to a breaking point? I do have something like
we'll probably
you and I have talked about.
Yeah, right before we hop off, we do have an announcement to make. And Tony said, how's your sleep schedule affected as a pilot?
I think that's kind of an individual basis. I make it a point, like when I get home, like when you guys see that I'm answering questions at 2 a.m., I am a PM flyer. I like to fly, like at Southwest, we bid AM and PM trips. So like tomorrow, I leave out, my show time is like noon, but I don't land in Nashville until like midnight. So I stay up until around 2 a.m. at home every night, because I'm just trying to keep my clock on that schedule.
Nice.
And obviously landing West Coast versus East Coast, like sometimes I'll land in New York, for example, at 1 a.m. Well, that's, it's not 1 o'clock my time, right? Or I'll land in California though at 1 a.m. Well, now it is 2 o'clock my time. So I just, for safety purposes, like I just keep my body clock, and my wife's very patient with that. Like I may sleep until 10 in the morning, but I'm also staying up until 2. So it doesn't affect me too much. I will say at my last airline, we didn't bid AM and PM trips. Like you would just start a trip, and you're all over the place. Like, that trip might start at like 4 a.m, but then like by day 3, you're ending at like midnight. I didn't like that at all. I felt like that was not a good place for me to be as far as my sleep pattern. It was really messed up. The Southwest does a great job of keeping things in line of like, you are a PM or you bid AM. And if you bid AM, you're going to be up at stupid o'clock, but you're going to go, you're going to be at a hotel by noon. And if you're a PM, you might not even show until noon, but you're probably going to be up until midnight or whatever. So I just try to keep my body clock on the same time.
Nice. Wow. That is a lot of information. That's a good information to know as a pilot also, because becoming a pilot, it does affect you in every way, even sleep. So that is good to know. Thank you so much for being so transparent in everything related in being a pilot, man. That is good to know.
And we have programs too. Like we have a thing called the fatigue program. So it is a non-penalty. Like if I call my company and like we have to get, so FAA mandated, we have to get 8 hours behind the door. So from the time I get into my room to the time I leave my room is 8 hours. And it's a minimum of 10 hours from break to break. So from when I pull in, like let's say I'm coming to see you in Miami, and I land and I get to the gate, when I pull that parking brake, my 10 hours starts right there. That's a minimum, right? So like my overnights, most of the time are like 15, 16 hours. But let's say if I was on min rest, that means 10 hours from the time I park to the time I'm pushing.
Nice.
But of that 10, I have to have 8 hours behind the door. And if I don't have that, I call my company and I say, hey, I'm only going to get like 7 hours. And they go, okay, well, we're going to push your flight out tomorrow morning. Because I hear that a lot where people are like, oh, they already know my flight's delayed tomorrow. Well, yeah, because your crew's coming in, they're getting no sleep. And so we're pushing your flight out an hour to give them their required 8. Now, let's say they've got kids run up and down the hallway and you're like, I just cannot go to sleep, or I've tried and I'm so groggy, whatever. It is a non-questionable, non-punitive fatigue program. I can call my company and I say the quote unquote the F word, right? Like I say fatigued.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you get another, like, what do you need? So like Southwest is good about that. It's not, normally they just give you 10 hours like at other airlines. Southwest is like, what do you need? Do you want to go to a different hotel? Yeah. Do you need 14 hours? Do you need 20 hours? Do you want to call off your trip? Like, it's very, you don't have a pilot or a flight attendant for that matter, or mechanics or whatever. Like we do not come in fatigued. Like we can say that word and we're still paid. We're still covered. We're still protected. They'll try to get you back on your trip in whatever way they can. But you say that word, like they take it very seriously. It's not a question, but they're not going to be like, well, did you stay out or did you do this? Like, we're all adults. So yeah, that's a big deal for us though.
Wow. So don't say the word fatigue, because if you are, okay, got you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
If you say it, like it's non-question, like they're just done. They pull out this card and they're like, okay, you are now fatigued. You will have this. It's just very robotic. Got you.
Thank you so much for sharing that information. Also, guys, welcome to the stream. Donnie Yen said, what are we up to? We are now on the phone with Captain Nick. He's for a captain for Southwest. Right now we're flying. We're about to land into the beautiful Nashville. Appreciate you guys so much for hopping on. We have a question from Antonio. Said, do you drink lots of caffeine? Do you drink lots of caffeine?
I'm not a caffeine guy, man. I mean, I'm every once in a while I like like an espresso or something, but no, for the most part, I drink water.
Nice, awesome. Keep it clean. I like that. I like that. Willie said he landed Airline 10. Awesome, shout out to you, Willie. No problem, Daniel. Let me see. Rio said, when you guys do overnights, do y'all get per diem before y'all leg? Okay, nice.
The per diem
per year.
Yeah, so like with my company, it's like, for example, it's like $3 an hour. So time away from base. So from the minute I leave Denver's base, I start making $3 an hour, and that's like for food and drinks and whatever. So you just kind of make this. Even when I'm sleeping, like it's 10 p.m., like I'm still making that. Like it's like $2. Like my airline is like $2.90. The last airline I was at was like $1.50 an hour or whatever. It's just something so that like you can afford to go get food or whatever. It's like a stipend, if you will.
Nice. Got you. That's pretty cool. And Tony said, is it me or I always thought pilots are always fatigued? I guess I learn something new every day. Yep. They can't be at all. Even in truck driving, I think Jesse's truck driver, he's a tech wizard on our channel. He's a truck driver. Yeah, they can never say you're fatigued. If you're tired, they take that very seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a punitive way. It's just like let's say I've done 2 flights and I'm like, dude, I am so tired. All I have to do is call my company and say, hey man, I'm fatigued. And
that's it.
They're like, okay, I'm gonna have a car come pick you up and you're gonna go to the hotel. That's it.
That's awesome. That's good to know. It's good to know. Brian said your game crashed 10 nautical miles out. Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that, Brian. That's crazy. Oh man. Danny said, tell Captain Nick I said, hey, Mauro. Hi to Captain Nick from Danny. Much love to everyone once again. Let me see. Willie says same thing as a bus driver. You can't be tired. Indeed. Was Willie, as a bus driver, do you drink caffeine to stay up? That's a question to you, Willie. But yes, we're about to do our final landing of the night. Once again, guys, we're on the line with the awesome Captain Nick. Great having you on. Alexis said, Captain Nick, how many times have you been to Oakland?
Oh man, I didn't even realize that I had accidentally muted you, dude.
No, you good, man.
Said hi. Hello. How are you? Sorry, I didn't. I muted you. Oakland?
Yeah, Oakland.
Was that the question?
How many times have you flown into Oakland?
Not many. I think that one's like 8.
8 times. Got you. Nice. Somebody said, what's the longest flight you've flown in real life?
Probably like 5.5, 6. Well, no, that's not true. I did one recently that was like 6.5.
Oh, nice. 6.5. Wow.
Yeah, we get some long ones, man, and that's by the time you're taxiing around and everything, like
Oh yeah.
it starts at 7. So yeah, but in air probably 6.5.
Wow.
That's a long time for me. I don't like those.
That is an extremely long time. Yeah, 6 hours. But shout out to you, man. Awesome. Let me see. And Tony said, did you ever have to say that you're fatigued earlier than you thought you would? Did you ever use the fatigue word? Okay.
I have, yeah. Luckily, I've only ever had to use it once, but they do. They try. Like they're not going to like work me into a fatigue, because that really messes with them. Like when you say fatigued, I mean,
yeah,
you're giving them no heads up, and you can actually you can call them and say, hey, when I land at such and such, I'm fatigued, I'm done. So start getting a pilot that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I try not to use it unless I seriously need to use it. That way, if they go back, they can look at it and be like, okay, he's not abusing this privilege. I have had to use it. I think I was in, I think I used it in Boston. I had to call him fatigued.
So how does that work?
Louisville, I can't remember.
Do they have pilots on standby just in case? Like
they may, depending on where you're at. But like we have a program that we use called Sky Solver, and we're getting a new one called Cairo.
Yeah. And
it will basically look at everything, and it will try to take consideration of like, let's say another plane was supposed to come in and have like a hour sit. Well, they may pull that pilot, that plane, bring him to my plane, and then another plane was supposed to come in. So now they got to delay this plane just a little bit to get another pilot into that one. Like they'll do. Wow. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Like they just move things around however they need to. But of course, it's a domino effect, right? Like they didn't expect this. They didn't plan on this. So.
Got you. That is true. That is good that they do have a system involved in how to get another pilot.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and we've got pilots like in bases. We have they're called reserve pilots.
Yeah,
and they're on a 2-hour call out schedule, but sometimes they will agree to come in earlier. If they're in this situation, they make a reserve pilot and be like, "Hey, any chance you can come in like as soon as possible?" So we do have pilots on reserve. It's just obviously not at every single airport. But like if I call in fatigued in Denver, they're going to have someone pretty ready to go. But if I call in Oklahoma City, now you're probably flying someone in to cover my flights, so it's going to be a little more strenuous.
Yeah, that's going to cause a lot of delays for the passengers, the plane, and all that. But hey, safety is number one priority. So safety is very important. Indeed. Danny said, have you ever flown to Guatemala?
I would love to.
Oh, sorry, kind of broke up a little bit. You said you have not, but you would love to.
Yeah, I have not, but I would love to.
Got you. Yeah, Guatemala is indeed.
We were talking about that the other day. Like, I've flown into like Cuba, Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, like a lot of like most of like the Bohemian, like Nassau and
nice,
Marsh Harbor, things like that. But yeah, I've Mexico a couple times, but I want to start going into like that Rio and Puerto Vallarta. Like, I want to start going to some cool places.
Somebody, have you flown into DFW or DAL? Both. Nice.
I fly to Dallas all the time. I mean, I'm gonna be there tomorrow, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Let me look at my schedule really quick, but I'm pretty sure I fly into Dallas. Let me look. No, it's the next day. So when I leave out of Nashville, I'll fly Nashville to Dallas, Dallas to Chicago O'Hare.
Nice. So do you normally send the schedule in the Discord? I didn't check because I know they love to track it. They're always tracking your flight. So you will be sending the 4-day schedule so we can check it out?
Yeah, I try to send it day by day. That way no one's getting confused.
Nice.
What I've been doing is I've just been getting up like 10 minutes earlier and I'll be like, hey, this is what I'm doing for the day. And I take a screenshot. If it helps, I can send the full 4-day all at once, or I can send it the night before, whatever helps.
Got you. Whatever's good for you, man. But yeah, they do enjoy tracking all your flights and the flying with you, making sure you're good and whatnot. So it's pretty cool that when you landed, you even said you mentioned that one landing was a little bit rough and then one was a little bit butter. So it's pretty good to get their feedback. It's awesome to see that in Discord. That's pretty cool.
And that's not lost on me. I mean, I sent you. I had taken a screenshot of all those. Man. I had tears in my eyes, and that I'm not afraid to be an emotional human. I'm not afraid to live by my emotions. But yeah, it was like I landed and I saw like all these people keeping up with where my flights were. And yeah, it was a pretty emotional moment for me, man. It was a lot of love. It was a lot of emotions at the same time. And I sent you that screenshot of my photo gallery because I had taken a screenshot of all of them.
Nice.
And it meant a lot.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. I remember when you landed, everyone was like, Captain Nick just landed. Captain Nick just landed. That was awesome. Yeah. It was really cool to see, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful, beautiful Nashville, which is touchdown here into Nashville. Nice. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a short flight from Miami to KFLL. So since we got about 20 minutes, that flight is probably going to take less than 5 minutes, but still going to do that. So if you guys want to hop on that KMIA to KFLL flight, feel free to join us. We're going to taxi to the gate real quick. We do have Captain Nick on still with us, so feel free to ask any questions. Thank you guys so much for the buddy emojis. But yeah, Captain Nick, man, it was awesome, man. Well, let me not say bye just yet. Hopefully we're not taking too much of your time, but it's been amazing having you on with us, man.
It's always great to be on, man.
But we have another question here. And Tony said, I love tracking Captain Nick's flights. It's pretty cool to see, like, wow, I know this pilot. Yeah, I'm telling you, I was speaking to someone the other day, and a lot of young people, we don't know any pilots personally. So it's good to know that we actually can have a friend in aviation, because growing up, when I wanted to be a pilot, I didn't know anybody. So I was just foreign to me. I see planes, I go on planes, but I've never actually physically spoken to a pilot, never been in contact with a pilot. So that's why we have the avenue right now. And Captain Nick is an awesome first captain here on Southwest, so he can answer any questions. So thank you so much for being that avenue for us to have communication with an actual pilot, man. Much love to you. Yeah,
that was big to me. You know, I told you, I mean, we haven't like dug into my history much, but like as far as I knew I wanted to be a pilot from a very young age, but like I didn't have anyone as well to talk to or ask questions or anything like that. So it was awesome when I met you.
Yeah, man.
And found out that you had this Discord. Like, it was great to be able to dig into this, because I want to be that to someone else. Yeah. I want to be what I wish I had to other people.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much. Imagining said, I love this channel and I just started watching it. Hey, thank you so much for joining, man. Much love to you. Feel free to join the Discord. We chit chat after the stream also. Talk about aviation, anything related to aviation or not related to aviation. We talk about football and all that good stuff. Captain Nick, do you ever fly to El Salvador from Alexis?
I have not. I would have to look and see whether or not Southwest does, but I have personally never flown to El Salvador.
Yeah. Nice. Let me see. Can you do a touch and go on KFLO? Got you, man. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, because that flight from Miami to KFLO is definitely not going to be a long enough flight. So let's do what we did last time. We did a touch and go in Fort Lauderdale and went back to Miami. So we can do that right now. So once again, if you guys want to join in the short flight to end off the stream, feel free to join. We got approximately about 17 minutes or so. Andrew, good to see you, man. He said, yo, I made it on the stream for once. Hey, let's go. Good to see you, man. How you been, bro? How you been? Let me see. Antonio said that now I'm inspired by Captain Nick to be a pilot. I've always wanted to be one. That's awesome, amazing, man. See, this is why we do it, man. Captain Nick, that comment alone by Antonio, that is awesome. The fact that he's inspired by you now to be a pilot, that is amazing.
It's definitely one of those moments where seeing that light bulb or seeing that realization or that, man, it happened with me. And you know, one day I was in a plane and I realized, like, this is it. This is what I want to do. Yeah. And it's so awesome to see that happen with other people.
That is pretty cool. Nate said, have you ever flown to SDF? Oh, yeah.
Louisville. Awesome. We looked at moving there not long ago, but nice. Yeah, Louisville. I've flown there quite a few times.
Nice. So what if you did a flight with all of your viewers in real life?
That would be awesome. Have you guys all in the back? That'd be so cool.
Yo, that's a good idea. So let's say no, but then all of us would have to meet in one specific place and then book the ticket. Right. And be like, oh, next year Captain Nick is going to be flying from this to this, and let's all go. That'd
be so cool.
That is a good idea. That would be awesome. And then as soon as you land, you just hear a bunch of clapping. That's the whole Flight Simulator Fantasy family just clapping and just, hey, Captain Nick, that was a butter landing. No pressure, by the way. Don't be pressured with the butter landing.
Just butter, like sticks of butter getting thrown up into the cockpit or something.
That'll be funny, man. That'll be awesome. Let me see. Any more questions? Yes, we do. Rio said, do you ever think Southwest would ever decide to fly to Canada?
I think they've looked into the market quite a few times, and I hope they do, because I used to love flying into Canada, and Canada was like a second home to me growing up where I did. But I know they had a thing, ironically, with accepting loonies and toonies, which is the $1 and the $2 for Canada.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had a problem with accepting that and converting it to USD, and I hope they do. I love Canada. I miss it.
Yep, indeed. Brian said Triple will be singing in the background after the landing. Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Rio said, let's do it. Let's go from FLL to Turks and Caicos. My mom will make us some food. Hey, let's go.
I'm down.
That sounds good. Local BMX said, what kind of planes do you fly? The 737.
Yeah, I fly the 737, the 700, 800, and the MAX 8.
Yes, sir. JJ said, it's my dream to be a pilot. Never give up on your dream. Yes, sir. Never give up on your dream at all, man. Never give up. All right, so there's a glitch going on in this plane. Right now, I see all black screens, and the plane is not moving. Let me go to restart and see what happens. And Kevin said, can I be the co-pilot for that flight? Just kidding.
Absolutely. Hop on up.
Imagine Captain Nick giving an announcement in the plane saying, hey, we have some special people on board today. We have the Flight Simulator Fantasy family on board. That'll be hilarious.
Absolutely, man. I can probably make one of those announcements anyways and just send it to you.
Oh, man, that would be amazing. Yeah, I'll use that as like an intro or something in one of my lives. That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that would be pretty cool. Somebody said, I like the pilot stuff. Let me see. You want to be a future engineer, Lockheed Martin, but I do want to have a personal Cessna 152. Nice.
Oh.
Awesome. So you want to own your own Cessna. That is amazing. That is pretty cool. Yeah, that's something. I heard some people just want to become private pilots and just own their own Cessna, because actually they say owning your own plane is actually cheaper than owning a own house sometimes, because a Cessna can cost up to like what, 80,000 or I don't know, 70,000. So you can
it's like a car. You can get a Cessna. I could help you buy a Cessna for 20,000, or I can help you buy one for 1.2 million. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for, and it tends to not just be the plane. It's like the maintenance, the upkeep, the hangar, that kind of stuff tends to creep up on you. So just make sure you're ready for all the upkeep.
Yeah, that is true. And the gas itself, I've seen a lot of videos that people said the gas is crazy, like $10 a gallon and all type of crazy stuff to just fill up. And the maintenance and just to keep your plane in a hangar is thousands a month. So just buying the plane isn't just that. You have to focus on everything else. But still, if that's your goal, man, I definitely say go for it. I believe in you. You got that, bro. You got this, bro. Yeah, I do watch a bunch of YouTube about people that own private planes. It's pretty cool. Let me see. Rio said I may need a pilot in the future, Captain Nick. Let's go, because Rio is actually a professional basketball player. Might be going to the NBA soon. So he said awesome. You might be needing a pilot in the future. So he might hire you as a private jet. Oh, man. That is pretty cool, man. Shout out to Rio.
We'll just fly to Turks and Caicos all the time.
Nice. Let me see. JJ said my dream is to be a pilot, and I'll keep telling myself I'm in the cockpit with Captain Nick. I appreciate you for keeping my dream alive.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Absolutely,
awesome.
buddy. Yeah,
Chloe, you're back.
Always.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Captain Nick, man. That is awesome. Rio said he's a college basketball player for now. Now, man, Rio, when you get drafted to the NBA, we're gonna have one big celebration on the stream, man. I love the NBA, man. I'm definitely gonna be at your games. You're talented, man. So definitely looking forward to that. We all believe in you, man. Much love. We're gonna have a whole cheering section at your games, shouting to Rio. So looking forward to that, man. Right now we're trying to start our flight, but for some reason the plane decided to stop working completely. So I'm gonna change my plane to the Airbus. You know what? Airbus A320. No, since we're on the phone with the great captain,
that's right,
737, might as well fly a 737. Not the PMDG one, because the PMDG one, you're gonna have to program the FMC and all that stuff. So let's just go with the old version, the Max. Let me see. Yeah, this one should just be perfect to this quick flight. Alrighty.
Can you not just set it up on the runway and have it all set up for you?
With this plane, it's super weird. Even if you're on the runway and you take off, sometimes the landing gear doesn't go up. So they want you to actually go into the FMC and you have to program the hydraulics and program where you're going to in your flight route. I'm like, so I had to learn all that, watch a 2-hour video, try to figure that thing out, but just figured a way around it. Just add some stuff and it works, but still. So they say it's one of the most realistic planes in the sim. So I'm like, okay, I guess I understand. But Chloe said you lost your voice today. Wow. Oh yeah, Chloe was supposed to sing for us. She said she's a singer. Yeah, she's a singer, and she was gonna sing Elvis Presley. But next time, Chloe, no problem at all. Tomorrow, he said he's gonna sing tomorrow, but tomorrow will be early live tomorrow from 6 to 7. My sister's birthday is tomorrow, so we're gonna be taking her out to a restaurant. Shout out to Brian and everybody else once again. But yeah, so maybe on Tuesday, Chloe, if you're available. How much the MD-80 cost? I think it was like $70 or so. Say Rio, don't forget about your boy. I want free tickets. Hey, Brian, tell him, man. We definitely got to get our free tickets. Gonna watch him play for sure. Gonna be watching that draft. Watching Rio get drafted into the NBA. It was awesome. Say if Rio gets drafted to the Sixers, I'll be the happiest person in the world. Just imagine, that is awesome. Say Trip, you handled the MD-80 very well. I know other streamers that have a hard time flying it. Thank you so much, Brian. Much love. All right, so as we're about to do our final flight, appreciate you guys so much. You say you can sing Tuesday, Chloe? Awesome. It's Captain Nick. Do you ever wish to create your content on social media?
So this is kind of something we were talking about the other day and leading up to. I don't know much about content creation. You know, I'm not like Trip. I'm not good at this stuff. I have a dream. I have a goal that we've talked about. And I'm excited. You know, when I called Trip the other night, and I was like, dude, I've got this storm just brewing in my head. And, you know, kind of, what do you think about this? Where does this go? How does this happen?
It's a good segue. You know, we can talk about it now if you want to. It's a great.
So I don't myself know how to create great content, or I don't want to do it halfway. I don't want to make stuff that people are like, oh, I have to watch this because I like this guy or whatever. Like I would like to make something that's worthy of your attention. But I just don't know how to do that yet. But I do have goals and a dream and an ambition which was the whole reason why I was excited to join this Discord specifically was, I wanted to be a pilot when I was very young, and I had no information. I had no one to talk to about it. I had no one to help me with guidance. And so when I met this Discord, I told Trip, as long as I could be transparent, I would love to do this because I could help people like I wish I could have had help. And that has grown into, like, you know, Trip allowed me to have this channel, the Ask Pilot channel, and, you know, moderator and like all this other stuff. And so all of a sudden I have this just storm inside of my head, things that I want to do. And, you know, it sounds like Trip is 100% on board as well. So we're going to figure out how this all works. But like, we've kind of had our, I say it in the most loving way possible, like our guinea pig, if you will. So the other day I was talking to Nate, and we were talking about Microsoft Flight Sim, and he's like, man, I'm on the Discord and this and that, but he's like, I don't actually have Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I was like, I'll split it with you. I'll buy it with you. And when I sent him the money and got it, got the version, and then I sent him the money, and he downloaded it. Now he's been flying with you guys, Nate Dog. And then I took it a step further, and the other night we got in together, me, him, Justin, there's a couple other people, and I did like a virtual flight training, and it was so cool because we did it actually at Smyrna, Tennessee, which is where I was a flight instructor for a long time.
Nice.
And I did his first actual takeoff. I had him fly the pattern, and he did a landing on his own for the first time over virtual, just me talking to him, talking him through it. It was such a proud moment, and I'm still giddy. I still am like smiling like I'm a nerd. And I see that in the future. I would like to have something, you know, where every penny made by this channel, for example, this hypothetical channel, went into like helping people who want to become pilots and getting Microsoft Flight Sim. It's not, you know, I was talking to Trip about this, like, we're not Oprah, right? It's not like you get this and you get that. It's just helping people who want to pursue this with Microsoft Flight Simulator is a great place to start. And I think helping people purchase that game would be a great starting place. Or for people like, I bring up Justin because he was in the stream with us the other day. He already has Microsoft Flight Simulator, but what if we could grow something to where we could buy him a discovery flight, or he could do a ground lesson with me one-on-one because I'm still a flight instructor, or I could do a virtual flight lesson with him, or, you know, we could purchase him, you know, this is down the road, we could purchase him a flight lesson with an actual flight instructor. This is the dream.
I love it.
How it comes to be, how long it takes, you know, that it is what it is. But this was something that I was kind of hinting at in the channel where I was like, we are working on something that will be full involvement. And, you know, we're excited right now about ideas. So like the ground school, the one-on-one virtual flight lesson, like that all just kind of came to me like
that is amazing.
The other day. I just have, that Nate was flying around and I was like, well, I could jump in with him. And I literally coached him through what would be an actual pattern like that we do in flight training. And I coached him into landing. And then I texted him and I'm like, hey man, start going through the flight training thing. And all of a sudden he's like sending me pictures and he's like, yep, I'm in the jet training now. Like he just excelled so fast, but I see this going somewhere. I just don't know how to do it yet. I'm not a content creator by nature. I don't know how to do that. Obviously I'm kind of piggybacking on Trip right now because he had such a good product and I believe in him so much that I think at some point like that combination of forces will be powerful. And
awesome. So that is
how to make it get.
So Captain Nick spoke to me a few days ago about this, and I definitely a light bulb just went off. That was an awesome idea, and to help people is awesome. And also Captain Nick, you know, you got me. I've been, not to pop my collar, but for 2 years I've been a social media person, so I definitely can help you out indeed in anything you want. But for sure, basically guys, what we want to do, we want to help people to become pilots. So we want to use the channel as a way to get people to know about aviation and become pilots. There's a lot of people there less fortunate who can't afford Flight Simulator. So me and Captain Nick are willing to help you guys get Flight Simulator. For instance, there was a guy on the stream on TikTok earlier saying, do you guys think I should get Flight Simulator? And there was one time this other guy was saying, should I tell my mom to buy Flight Simulator for me or whatnot? Some people can't just afford. So what we want from you guys also is, if you see these type of comments, feel free to let us know. And we're looking for candidates for people who actually are serious about Flight Simulator, because we want to actually make sure they take it serious and not just want to get free stuff because it's free. So we are willing to help out. For instance, you guys said you had an amazing session with Captain Nick the other night where he actually teach you guys on the Discord. That was amazing. So this is stuff we wanted to do more often. And as he said, so also CFI Hobie just said, I would love to help with this in some way. So awesome. We just got another help. So we are family here, guys. We all here family. So this is open right now. It's in the process. Any idea you guys have, we are family here. So any comments you guys see on TikTok as the channel grow, we want to grow with you guys. So any ideas you guys have, of you see anyone wanting to learn Flight Simulator or want to learn how to fly, we have Captain Nick here that's willing to teach. We're willing to get them Flight Simulator for their PC. So let us know if you see anything, you have the great ideas. That's why we have the Discord. Feel free to message me, Captain Nick, Brian, or even rock out any great ideas have, because this is definitely going to help a lot of people become pilots. And much love to Captain Nick with that great idea, man. So much love. So that is, so that is awesome.
And that's, like I said, to kind of piggyback on this, is like, this is not a giveaway channel. This is not it was something that came from the heart, where it was like, like I said, I want to be a pilot when I was 3 years old, and I have struggled. I grew up in a very poor family. I was like, you know, there was times where I was making a decision between, do I want to have the utility of water or electricity? And I was taking freezing cold showers, and I could see my breath when I was laying in bed at night. Like, I hear a lot of people who are like, I don't have the money to become a pilot. Neither did I. And that's why I wanted to do this, was no one was there to be like, hey, you want to be a pilot? Let me walk you through this. And when Trip offered me this opportunity, it was like, I will be here from the second you say you want to be a pilot until the second I see you flying in the skies with me. I will be here for you through the whole thing.
Nice.
And that's something I just didn't have, but I want that. And this like just blew up in my brain as far as ideas and thoughts. And I think obviously a logical first step is Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is not to say like, if you say, hey, I want the game too, like we're not just handing the game out left and right. We don't have like copies. Like this is coming from our own pocketbook, obviously, but in time, this is what we want it to build up to. Nice. Maybe we could do raffles or whatever. But
yes, for instance, we already got our first idea from local can donate to help. That is great. So that's something we can start to look into. Not sure how to make one, but we definitely can find a way. If anybody knows how to create something, we can create so people can donate. That would be awesome. So we're a family. I'm loving these ideas. So feel free to hit up Nick
That's
or
awesome.
me, and we'll definitely. Yeah, thank you so much for the help, man. I really appreciate that. Appreciate you guys so much, man. That is amazing. I see this is going to be something very big and awesome, and it's going to help a lot of people become pilots. So I really appreciate it. Yes, sir. We can definitely donate. Brian said, I'll help. Indeed. All right. So if that is it, let me see. And Tony said, that's a great way to end out this amazing comment. He said, shout out to you, Captain Nick and Trip, and to this great community. My love for aviation has increased even more, and I truly realize how much I want to be a pilot. Shout out to everyone. That just gave me goosebumps. That is amazing. Shout out to you, Antonio. And on that note, unless you have anything else to add, Captain Nick, anything else to say? Or
no, that's that's just what he just said. That's one of the things that speaks to me so much. Is like we have a thing in aviation where we do like a code word, for example. So like if I have to, if someone needs to get into the cockpit or I need to get out, we have a code word that we'll say. And mine, because we have a different one at Southwest, but like we used to make up our own one at the last one. And I always use the word family, which is why you see when I'm on the Discord, I say, hey, my little family.
Yes, sir.
Like, truly, aviation is like a family. And it's amazing the stuff that we will do for each other, for the love of aviation, for the heart that we all have in this industry. It's a small industry. We all become like brothers and sisters and family members in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, thank you guys for what you do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. This is truly my family, man. I've been calling them my family ever since I started. When I had one viewer, I'm like, hey, man, that's my family. So it's great to see how we've grown. It's awesome, man. So I really appreciate you guys. Shout out to Brian said this is what keeps me coming back every day. Hey, shout out to you, Brian. Much love to everyone in the chat, man. This has been an amazing live, a great way. We're starting off 2024 with a bang, man. Much love to everyone, man. And Willie said, I love this channel. Hey, we love you too, Willie. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. And once again, big shout out, huge shout out to Captain Nick for spending 2.5 hours with us, man. Much love to you. You are definitely amazing family member. It's good to have you. Thank you so much for all the insights you share. And safe flying on your 4-day trip. We really appreciate you in every way possible. Thank you so much. We love you, man. And shout out to everybody in the chat.
I'll bring you guys along.
Hey, for sure, man. Looking forward to it. Shout out to Hobie. Shout out to Rio. Shout out to Rockout, Alexis. Everybody else, let me go to see. And we're going to read off everyone's name in the chat real quick before we hop off. Just to say what's up to everyone. Justin, much love to you. JJ. Everybody in the chat, man. You guys have been amazing. Imagine of nothing. Good to see you, Antonio. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Brian, much love. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. See you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. as we do one short flight. I will be picking a flight for tomorrow since it's just an hour flight. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Shout out to Captain Nick once again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Love you guys.
Yep. Love you guys, man. Have a good night, guys. As Antonio said, safe trip, Captain Nick. We'll be tracking the flights. Indeed. Have a wonderful night, guys. Much love. Stay safe. God bless. Peace.